This is the story about a grubby little guy who doesn't know it yet, but he's in for a big change.
Grub was happy doing his grub things, eating leaves and doing other grub things. He'd eat his leaves all day and have grubby things to say. When he was asked to comment on what might be one day,
he said, I'll keep doing things my grub way. It's my way from day to day. What may be one day. Till then, I'll stick to my grubby way.
Grub was happy doing his grub things, eating leaves and doing other grub things. Grub was happy doing his grub things, eating leaves and doing other grub things. Grub went on with the way that took him day to day, thinking things that made him say, what if things worked another way?
He said, I've been doing things my grub way. It's the same old stuff day to day. Perhaps there is another way, so I can change my grubby way.
Grub was happy doing his grub things, eating leaves and doing other grub things. Grub was happy doing his grub things, eating leaves and doing other grub things. Grub went on and changed his ways. Woke one day and Grub felt strange. Wrapped himself up and slept for days. Woke up again and he was amazed.
I was happy to do my bit, fit myself into where I fit. Never knew how free I could be, couldn't tell I could be me. I settled in and I did my thing. Never knew I was gonna, never knew I was gonna grow wings, living my life day to day. Now everyone can hear me say, Grub was happy that he tried new things, so very happy he loved his wings. Recapping tonight's top stories. Grub was happy that he tried new things, so very happy he loved his wings. Back to you in the studio.
Hi, everybody. Let's fix that way. Maybe I'll just move there. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. What's going on, everyone? Hi there. Get through a bit of that first. Chewy, look out. Chewy's first cab off the rank today. And what a fine gift that is on my return to this nonsense. I kind of ignored the elephant in the room, didn't I, by not talking about my absence. Maybe we'll get to that later. Collaboration of curiosities. That's going to be a hard one to shorten without sounding rude. I'll just say COC. Pipex, hello, welcome. How are you? Ty Hunziker, g'day, mate. Don't know what you're laughing at with your 3316. Is that like Steve Austin times 10 or something? BJ, how's it going? Welcome. Lee Wilcox is probably already asleep by the look of that comment. Thanks for swinging by, Lee. Paddy Shaddy, g'day. S, how are you, mate? Welcome. Oh, BJ Palmer, we might talk about that shortly. No spoilers, please. Dragon Lair, how's it going, Paddy? Ooh, straight up with the burps. Fish and shrimp by Rich. I was going to read something else, but my chat jumped. FNS, how are you, mate? Welcomes. Ugly Man, how's it, Ugly? Zip Gun. Zippity doo dah. Welcome everyone after a 2-week hiatus. 2 weeks off. I guess that means it's been 3 weeks since I've been on screen. Or does it mean 4? Because then there's a week. Oh, anyway, I don't understand weekday maths. It's a bit difficult. Let us get the ball rolling with this lady.
That was unexpected. But sadly for you, you do catch me at one of the moments when I was pulling faces at you.
Timing is everything, they say. So hi, by the way. Hi, how are you, love? Good to see you.
I'm trying
Welcome
to
on.
Oh, no.
Oh, I see.
I need to have headphones, don't I?
Might help.
Okay, hang on a second.
But I haven't heard an echo since that first bit. Or did you just turn it right down?
I turned all the volume down. And the problem is I'm going to have to turn my camera off to get up and walk away. Because I didn't wear any pants.
I'll just remove you for a minute, shall I? Classic Scunge princess activity. G'day, Kenny. How's it going? I see Ty Hunsicker, 33 minutes to go. Nice and early, you people. What else? I was yeah, I don't know why she bothered. I don't have any on. Yeah, I do. Can't uphold that lie for too long. I'll wait till Scungy's back to talk about COVID because she's in my area too. Yum. It's always fun at my hose. My hoses are the funnest hoses. Wayne Y. Is it Wayne Y or Wayne? Wayne baby. What's cracking? 2 Dougs. How's it going? Doug? Hope I haven't missed anyone. If I've missed anyone in the chat, stuff ya. We will potentially have other people coming around soon, checking out. It's getting quite cool, Dragon Lair. So I think, there's not been that many reptile sightings around. Scungy had a good one the other day. Might show you pictures of that in a little while. It was quite a interesting encounter with a snake on the road. Oh, hang on. Looks like we are back in action.
I am back.
Righto, there we go. I had just started to. I was asked if there's been any reptiles around, and I said that the most recent reptile sighting was the one on your car. Your car, my car, that car that you drive. Yeah. Chubby Guppy, how's it going? I might organise to show a picture or 2 pictures that you sent me in a little bit. But I guess one of the so many fruit flies at the moment. Turns out though, the best vinegar for a fruit fly trap is apple cider vinegar, not just normal white vinegar. The old white vinegar did bugger all, and this one's caught heaps since I set it up a couple of days ago. But what I was going to say is Have you heard the COVID shit that's going on in Brisbane?
Oh yeah.
And-
Not really, but yeah, they had some cases and a couple in Byron, and they went into lockdown in Brisbane.
Yeah, and the one of the sick people from Brisbane attended a party in Byron Bay, and for those foreigners listening to this conversation, Brisbane is the capital city of Queensland, which is approximately 2.5 hours north of us. And Byron Bay is an incredibly popular, trendy town, very close to us, that most locals don't like very much. And one or maybe two of the infected people from Brisbane came down to a party at Byron Bay, which I was trying to say is only, a couple of stones throw in that direction. Stone throws
Come here.
in that direction.
Come here. Come here.
Yeah, they went to a party there,
Come here.
and now there's 5 people or 8 people, I think it's up to, in Brisbane now that are affected, and have caused a little bit of shit down here as well, because now people are very worried and getting tested and quarantining and isolating down here again because of these units that got cook. Oh, look, there she is. That's the woofer.
She was so confused because I was asking her to jump up, and I'm usually like, you can never jump up.
Yeah,
So she was like, what? Hi.
so confused.
Yeah. All right, that'll do. You can get down again.
So yeah, when I shot into Woolworths, the local supermarket, this morning, they've got a staff member on the door handing out masks again and asking people to wear masks.
Okay.
So, I threw one on, as useless as it is with all of this stuff around my face. But yeah, and in typical Mullumbimby fashion, less than half of the people in the supermarket were actually wearing a mask. So I felt so like a suburban sheep for actually following the rules and putting the mask on. But, it kind of made me the odd one out, that I was wearing a mask and, being cool about it instead of all the other dickheads being defiant and rebellious and some other words that are synonymous with those words that I previously stated. Chin diapers, yeah. Or nappies, we call them down here. Nola Jane, how are you? Yeah, some people take it to extremes, Ty. Yeah, it's interesting where they think they're going to get it from. But anyway, now that I've spoken about COVID in the first 15 minutes, I'll probably have the I don't know if you've noticed, but when COVID gets mentioned on YouTube videos or is put in the title now, like I think they were pulling videos down and stuff, but now it seems,
You get your little one.
yeah, the little warning thing just below the screen saying, basically, to paraphrase it, they're basically saying what you hear in this video could be bullshit. Only listen to official health humans or something or other. No, thanks, Patty. Didn't really take courage, I was just in a rush, so I didn't want to get forced into a 17 or 19-minute discussion with the girl about why I should wear one. And, extra free mask in the collection. Win-win. Winner, chicken dinner.
I want one of those, like the little plastic cup that you can put under the mask, and not for going out in public, because I don't really go out in public because I'm just a hermit, but for doing like woodworking and stuff, because when I wear it, it gets really foggy and full of moisture and stuff while I'm working, and I want one of those little cups that goes under me.
So the condensation can be focused in one spot instead of up into your eye zones.
Yeah.
Is that what you
Something
mean?
like that.
Yeah, I think my because of the terribly dainty shape of my nose and my
Tis
incredibly long eyelashes, whenever I wear them, where they sit on the bridge of my nose just constantly tickles my eyelashes. So I'm constantly pulling it down. And, one of the dodgy things they say about this whole shebang is, don't touch your face too much. And wearing a mask kind of makes me constantly touch my face every time a muscle moves in my face. It's not a pleasant situation, but, getting COVID is probably not very pleasant either. Trying to help with the YouTube popo. Wait, out of that. So what else has been going on? I heard a little rumor that you started a TikTok account.
I know, like I did. It's been,
And is it just
a few days now. And as someone who really is not into the social medias, it's quite surprising even to me. But I don't know. I just had heard some good stuff from some artists about getting stuff out there. So I just thought I would give it a go and chuck up some videos and stuff that I had. So we'll see. It's like a pretty intense place that I don't really want to be there, like for my own accord, looking around. So that might, make it cut short a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's certainly some fantastical TikTok underworlds and some real dark places on the TikTok. But if you don't go digging for the dark stuff, it doesn't show up on your feed. So you got to be a special kind of human to find those dark things. Oh, we've had a couple of extras roll in. G'day, Mickham. How's it going? And who did I just see? Jolie G, the Kiwi. I can't remember if Joel G watches the cricket or not, but New Zealand had some pretty good cricket against Bangladesh last week. For all of those sports fans out there, especially Scunch Princess, I know she loves the cricket. Loves it with a passion. Oh, Dragonlair is all vaxxed up. Well done. Well done. We'll see what happens down here. We're in the process of a vaccine rollout. And, why do things keep falling in my mouth this afternoon?
Because you leave them on your upper lip.
I leave things up here that fall into my mouth.
Like little morsels of food and stuff. And then later on you're talking and whoops, falls in.
It was actually a hair, which has probably come from here or here, somehow got into my mouth and dislodged itself. But anyway, Joel G, forget what I said.
Leave those on your upper lip too.
What?
You do leave those on your upper lip too.
Lose them, yeah. Well, I can't just be balding up on top of my head. I'm sure balding affects other places on your body too.
I said that you leave them on your lip. You leave the hairs on your lip and they fall in too.
Right, okay. So, I don't know how. Oh, that's right. I did the digression, didn't I? Something went in my mouth. Anyone who's using TikTok, I believe your account's just called Scunch Princess as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Bloody get out there on the TikTok and have a look at the magic that Scunch Princess is presenting on her talk. I think is that what they call it? They just call it the talk, don't they?
I actually don't know I don't know anything about it really. That's right. That show that you were showing me with the two, your mum's house, and I was saying about prison talks, and I kept on thinking that she was saying prison talks, and then that took me ages to work out what they were actually talking about. I don't go out of my way to watch and listen to stuff that's not like specifically interesting to me, I guess.
Well, I think the talks that Christina P shows on Your Mum's House, for mine, that's my feel of TikTok. I see all that I need to see from TikTok, from her stuff, and she also does. Pardon me, Instagram stories on Christina P's Instagram, where she puts together a story which is just all these TikToks in a row that sort of take you up to a happy place and then bring you down to a shocking, disgusting place and then bring you back up a little bit, then take you back down. It's a bit of a wild ride, Christina P's curations of talks. I think that's what she calls them. Yeah, there's got to be a little bit of something on TikTok for everyone, especially for the sickos, it would seem. So, get out there, you bloody raving, stark mad TikTokers, and check out the magic that Scunch Princess is putting up there. What else was I going to say? We did the COVID nonsense. Don't need to talk about that anymore. You were saying?
That like kind of green horsey picture. From this morning. That was because I'd put another video up and someone had requested a green horse, and
fucking pop-up ad out of nowhere just popped up. Sorry, you keep going. I don't know how much that awesome techno beat interrupted your speakings.
I don't know either. But yeah, I thought I would give it a go. But when I was filming it, I kept moving the picture, like where I was drawing was like out of range of the camera. So the video didn't work. I still got a little bit. So I've tried to I put up the little bit that I did capture.
G'day, Alice. How's it going? Who's Scurried? Scurried has posted some cool art on Instagram last few days. Or has autocorrect changed Scungy into Scurried, maybe? Have you posted awesome art on Instagram last few days? Some cool art?
Maybe not the last couple of days, but in the last week, I think I did those pink ones and some of the other little inky ones. But they did those few pink ones. Because I lost my paints and I can't afford to get more paints. So I have to use the few colours that I have. I'm restricted heavily in terms of colours now. Now that my paints are, I don't know. I think the last time I had them was the UK markets. So hopefully they didn't get left on the table there.
Yeah, someone would have scored some free paints, expensive free paints. Okay, Alice, I'll do that. Play it like that. Done. Yeah, that was. I suppose there's a small benefit to you missing those paints and being very restricted with what colours and stuff you can use. Is now you're experimenting with these colours that might not have necessarily showed up a hell of a lot in your previous works.
Maybe.
Anyway, I like seeing the stuff that you're putting up, and sending me pictures of. It's all very, very nice. Very eye candish. All right, Alice, thanks for swinging by. Smash that like on your way out, or whatever the kids say nowadays. Maybe I should go old school and just tell people to push the like button. Click the like sign. Or the upside down one. I don't care. Casval Deacon. If you haven't, I think someone has made that reference before. Casval. The original Mad Max, like the pre-post-apocalyptic one. Is that even a thing? Pre-post-apocalyptic. Or is that just apocalyptic? Dragonlair likes the Xmas tree-tailed fox.
Oh, yeah. I like that one too.
Yeah.
I didn't plan for it to look like a tree, but yeah.
I'll look out. Sorry, keep going.
No, it's all right.
You said, yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember anymore. Go on.
I know I can see a dude sitting in the background, but he's got a really folded up face. Looks like some stuff's not working or something. So, oh yeah, I'll leave him back there while he's fiddling. I think he now that he knows I'm looking at him, I think he may be fiddling purely for my benefit of giggling and stuff. But I'll try and stop paying attention. Yeah, BJ, on the Insta, don't forget the TikTok as well. TikTok is firing up, isn't it? Like a million subscribers already.
I'm going to start try and share like some of the videos. I think that's part of my plan. So I'm having trouble making videos to go on Instagram, like and what to do, music that I'm putting on there and stuff like that. So my idea kind of was if I make them on TikTok, then I can put them on my Instagram. So it's sort of using it more as a tool maybe. But I haven't done any yet because I'm always just feel really shy. And it feels really massive. Everything that I post is like, it takes a lot of guts for me to post something.
What do they say? A forward journey always takes a first step, or some shit like that. I can't remember the exact words. Okay. I see eyebrows making funny shapes. Two Dougs, GMA keeps banging on about your drums. He wants to see you playing the drums. He does. I mean, he's made 2 comments, so in my mind, that's banging on about it.
I don't have the drumsticks for the drum anymore, but I've got a djembe which doesn't need sticks.
I got like a pile of drumsticks sitting over in my corner from my whole drumming days.
I had a good drum kit, but moving here, it needed a bit of work to fix it up and stuff. So I ended up getting rid of it. Bit spewing.
Yeah, I put mine into storage under a large blanket in the shed because it was exposed to weather and stuff, and my expensive double kick drum pedal was getting rusty. Let me fiddle with my phone a little minute, and let's bring this shady character onto the screen.
Oh, the shadiest. Oh, what happened? I pushed a weird button.
Gotta be careful. Oh, whoa.
I pushed the black and white button.
Because you're shady.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's old timey McGee here. Do I have audio? Can you
Yeah,
hear
you've
the
got
sound?
audio.
Can you hear
Well,
me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I was concerned.
But
I pushed
was-
buttons over here, and I went all the way back old timey, and I didn't know if people could hear me in the old timey.
yeah, right. They needed the piano player at the front of the theatre playing the soundtrack.
That's right. Maybe I'll
But
go.
what did
Maybe I'll go
confuse me-
slightly new timey. There we go.
Yeah,
we go.
right. It
Slightly.
did confuse me a bit when you came out of the black and white, because it went like this swell into color and then too much color and then backed off a bit. That was a real interesting effect.
It's a thing that happens sometimes, though. You know, like it's just a portion of my life, realistically. You know, that I swing in and out of black and white into color. It's wild, you know. Like I know it's different, and some people out there don't experience it the way that I do, but that's what it is, you know. For me, you know, it's just the thing I got going.
I used to be a real color Nazi on the television sets. You know, a lot of people have their color cranked on their TV sets so much it looks absolutely disgusting. And about where you've got yours set to at the moment is about where I'd bring color down on the TV to.
You'd bring the saturation down a little bit. I think I normally set mine right about right here.
Yeah, well, I was always, because, you know, I've been trained in the field of television.
Right.
I was always told that skin tone was your guiding principle for television. But there's so many different skin tones. Surely there's got to be some leeway in that theorem.
Right. Well, that's the difference between tone and color, right? Isn't that right? Because it's the tone is the, what is that? Like tone is the
contrast.
What's synonymous with tone? Like saturation goes with tone that people would normally have like on their TV. But I'm trying to think of.
I think generally the settings are color, brightness, and contrast. Tint.
Right. But if you're talking about like skin tone, it's trying to have the accuracy. It's trying to have the accuracy of tone so that you don't have green and purple, right?
Yeah. Or incredibly shiny reds.
Or extra red. You look like you have extra red.
I know, but I don't know if I can adjust it.
I just assumed that you must have like been walking around in the outback and just decided to take a nap in the direct sunlight, and that you just are looking extra tan.
Well, when I get extra tan, it's like a shade of brown, not a shade of tomato.
Well, you know, I'm saying that, you know, the fairer skinned bunch has a tendency to get some additional red with extra exposure to the ultraviolet luminescence, like Mad Max, as you were speaking of earlier. You know, white people get burned. That's the easier way to put it.
Yeah, they do. Poor Whitey.
Yes, again, you know, it's just so much to deal with, like the sun.
What's
Although yesterday we had to deal with, or Sunday we had to deal with hail, snow, wind, rain, sunbeams, and something else, I'm sure. Lightning.
Just seems like it would go with the rest. That's a many weathers in one day, isn't it? Kind of like what
welcome
we're
to the
experiencing.
Pacific Northwest, where I live, is renowned for having days that has all the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, was there a tornado? Probably. Was there a freaking hurricane? Likely. Was there a drought? Probably, for some period of time. And then
we just go straight from
moist
pissing down rain floods into instant melting testicles,
heat.
and then back to ankle deep water on the grass, and then back to heat and humid. But today is quite pleasant. But yeah, I do find that I'm assuming it's a maybe a StreamYard thing, that when it's like nice and sunny, I get fairly accurate skin tones, but when it's overcast, I get lots of shiny bits and glowing red stuff. So I don't know how it works.
It's probably you, would be my guess, but it's the inconsistent lighting, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
I have my studio lighting down here in the hole in the ground where I live. Because I live in a hole in the ground. I don't know if you guys know this, but I decided to forego regular housing, and I got out a shovel and I just dug down into the earth, and now I just live down here in a hole.
There's places in Australia like that. Scungy's probably been there. Where is it?
Yeah. But Scungy, I didn't say hi yet. How are you?
I'll let you guys talk.
I'm okay.
How are things?
Don't let me talk because I'm just say nonsenses.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of nonsense. That's pretty much
nonsense?
the entirety of my existence.
Excellent. Well, I abound in nonsense, so.
Oh, good.
Lucky for you.
How's the art coming? Do you have any new series coming? I heard you were. I heard you were back. You were back in the. I was gonna say class, but that's not. It's like more art club kind of thing, kind of deal.
Like going back to drawing, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was, but I've only been a couple of times because I'm too poor to go.
Oh, do you have to pay? Is there a fee?
Yeah. It costs $30, and I have to drive there too, which costs money. So yeah, I love it because it's not like so much a lesson.
I got one word that I know in Australian for that. It's bollocks. Is that
I call it
English?
povo.
Pavo?
No, like I am povo, and that's not bollocks at the moment.
Bollocks is more English.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't even speak American English, so I don't know what is going on.
Yeah, I mean, as in England English, and because a lot of people
British
down here are raised on British TV, it certainly has become an Australianism over the last 20 or so years.
So Scungy, it sounds like we need to get some gas money together. Is basically what we got going on here, right? Or petrol. Oh, sorry, petrol cash for petrol. You weirdos calling it petrol. It's gasoline. You weirdos.
It's petroleum. How do you get gasoline from petroleum byproducts?
It was invented in America and it was called gasoline. So get off me. Get off me, guy.
But Corvus, you certainly raise a very interesting point. How are we going to raise some petrol money for Scungy?
That's right.
Oh, so I can go drawing.
Yeah, so you can go drawing because I think it's very important.
It's like it's a vicious circle, isn't it? Because to create artwork to sell, you need money for stuff.
You need money
to make artwork.
That's the whole thing.
And,
you know?
and I've been in this cycle where, yes, like the catch-22, but I'm sort of like just slowly rolling backwards at the same time. So everything is getting kind of maybe just like tighter and tighter circles, you know.
Right.
As I go round and round.
The concentric rings,
spiral.
The concentric rings just keep getting smaller and smaller, and eventually we reach a finite point of complete mayhem and madness. And we're like, look, I just need gas money to go to drawing class. You know, that's all I wanted to do. Yeah.
So yeah, we've been thinking about working up to another art auction on one of these live streams, but the last couple of times I've mentioned it, it hasn't really got a huge response from people because, you know, we do have a lot of new members and viewers in the group now that watch this stream since when we used to do art auctions and stuff. So potentially potentially folks, like new people along here, aren't that familiar with Scungy's work and stuff. And I'm a big fan of the work, and lots of other people are. So I guess we've just got to keep showing stuff on streams to gauge people's excitement, and then maybe, just try and sell off one or two here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I love sharing. I used to really enjoy coming and sharing every week because everyone gave me really interesting feedback about that. And what my favorite part was, like, all the stories, because I don't have any stories that are attached to my images, and so it would be really fun to just hear everyone's interpretation of it, because everyone's always asks me what the story behind the pictures that is, and the issue is that I just draw like in no mind space, so never know what's going to happen. So that's really fun. But I feel really iffy about like selling work and pushing it onto people and stuff like that. I really just want people to buy it when they really want it. So I'm not a salesperson, if you didn't notice. I can't, it's apparently this really important part of being an artist, and it's one skill I just don't have at all.
It's definitely, I have to commiserate with that because I am not a salesman either. And especially when it comes to my art, I'm literally like, people want me to have showings and stuff, and I hate going to them and talking to people about my art. People ask me like the weirdest. I'm sure you understand, but people ask like the weirdest questions, like, "Hey, what were you thinking about when you painted this?" I was like, I mean, it took me 70 hours to paint this, so I'm sure I probably thought of many things, because that's a long time, and so it's a weird conversation that we're having now. I mean, you could pretty much name just about anything in that time frame, and I probably would have thought about it. So
Alyssa Bentley, #no relation in the house, and Tropico, El Tropico Fish Tropic is here as well. Welcome, guys.
So then I just weird people out, and then they don't want to buy anything because they're like, that guy's a weirdo.
Yeah, well then you've got to weigh it up, don't you? Whether you're being true to yourself or you just want to sell a picture. If you start spinning bullshit, then people won't necessarily be into your art.
Well, that's like, I weird people out most times that I have conversations with people. I just end up having like awkward silences or saying something that no one really gets and understands. And then I just turn red and, look somewhere in some other direction.
Off in the distance.
But yeah, so far my experiences being weird hasn't stopped people from wanting to buy my artwork, but it does stop me from putting myself out there in the first place.
Right. True.
Yeah. And there's other stuff, like having shows costs money as well. You want to go out and do a show, you've got to book space, and there are lots of other fees involved, and so it's really hard to get yourself out there. Yeah,
because I think anywhere that you guys want to try to show any art is like 40,000 kilometers away, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Give or take.
It's basically the other side of the moon. Might as well be, right?
Yeah. Especially when I barely leave my house. This is my whole little world at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Potentially the nearest place for viable selling is Brisbane, but we're not going to be going there for a week or two with the recent outbreak, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, they have the COVID again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a doctor and a nurse apparently that were the first cases, and I believe the nurse and some of her friends came to a party down at Byron Bay, very near us. So, it's thrown the town of Byron Bay into a bit of a tizzy as well.
Yeah,
but,
well,
I'll get through it.
that's kind of what happens. You get lax on the restrictions, and then that's kind of a perfect example of like somebody came to the hospital because they probably weren't feeling very well, and then gave the doctor and nurse corona somehow.
Yeah,
they were probably
they said it was...
probably came in and they were like, "Oh, my tummy hurts, my tum," and they're like, "Well, okay, tummy guy, go over here and we'll figure it out," and blah blah blah. And then it's like he's coughing all over
everything.
And then, oh my God, now the Rona's on the loose, and great.
Scungy, have you got a picture? Since we've been talking about art, do you want to show the people some stuff?
I have the ones I was just doing this morning.
Sure, we'll start inspiring people to ask us for an auction, to beg for an auction. Oh, hang on, let me Oh no, he fits in your frame. I was going to solo you up, but he fits just nice. He seemed to have a nose coming out of his bottom though.
Well, after I did it, it reminded me of like a duck.
Of what?
A duck. Can you see a duck?
Oh, duck. Yeah, right.
With like tentacles instead of a beak.
Sure, they're my favourite kind of ducks.
and like a branch or a stick instead of a tail. I don't know. That's what I saw. I didn't mean it at the time when I was drawing it.
Apparently, that's why Daffy Duck spoke like he did, because he actually had tentacles instead of a beak.
True story.
But they fixed it in post.
Yeah.
I don't know if I needed to take that joke that far.
Why not?
Why
not? It's well played.
It's pretty cool, and as usual, what we like is when the naming comes through as well. I think you were alluding to that before when you were saying how you really enjoyed when people applied their own stories to your artwork, and I suppose going hand in hand with that was when people started applying monikers to them as well, as in names.
Yeah. Well, that gives a start of a story, doesn't it? And because like I actually want to make stories about them, but yeah, I'd like to do that collaboratively. And the other one that I did this morning is like a horse.
Is like a horse.
Well, it's a bit like a horse, isn't it?
It's got horse vibes.
Yeah.
He's giving out that horse vibe. Let people know.
So yeah.
Hey.
This one was like someone requested that they would like to see what happened if I painted a green horse, and so I thought I would try that, and here it is.
We got names flying in for the duck one now. Black duck, zombie duck, Cthulhu duck,
Octoduck.
Oh yeah, octo duck, slug on acid.
I do a few of those slug on acid ones, I reckon. That could title a number of them.
I like it.
I wonder, do mollusks have the physical ability to process acid like humans or mammals do?
I don't think they do. Bivalves are essentially useless as far as anything goes.
No
Just
need,
have
I
to
guess.
imagine that they can, and we can still enjoy it.
Possibly.
That's why imagination is so important, because you can imagine things like that. But potentially to imagine what a slug might experience on acid, maybe one needs to be under the influence of acid to thoroughly get yourself through the experience.
That would be a fun little animation to make.
A slug taking acid and starting to trip out, or a slug mid-trip.
Yeah.
Right at the peak.
You know, just his adventures. I think that would be fun.
Adventures in sluggery.
Sluggery. Adventures in sluggery. There's your title for your storybook. Just don't tell the kids that LSD's involved.
But that's the beauty of, there's so many things that are like made for kids, but they're made by adults. And when adults watch them, you can see a lot of the influences and suggestions that are there, but they're just, when they're beautifully masked so that they just seem really innocent, it's really enjoyable for the adults, you know.
Agreed.
Ty Hunziker says, "Don't take the brown acid," and I say, "Don't be an acid bigot. Take all the colours."
That's true. I mean, there was a period of time where I could honestly say I was probably. I mean, this is not recommended. This is the opposite of recommended. Okay, any children out there? This is just a hypothetical of something that could have possibly happened to somebody at some point in time, and I do not recommend anybody following this storyline to be applied within their own life. Okay, there we go. That's my disclaimer. I knew a guy who may or may not have attempted the experiment of taking acid every day for an entire year. You know, what was that?
Don't know.
I heard like a crazy exploding noise. That was weird.
Yeah.
Might have been my screen door blowing shut.
That's what it was.
Just tripping out over here.
Yeah. Just imagining all that acid.
Flashback.
Already playing.
I'm having flashbacks, guys.
Like full doses, not just like microdosing, or like full.
This is many years before microdosing, or realistically, any kind of professional dosing measurements would have been really like in play.
A couple of tabs a day sort of thing for a month.
Yeah, actually had a never-ending supply of do you have Smarties where you live?
The little like M&Ms.
They're like little like chalky sugar discs.
We've got them.
And they lend themselves very well to the application of possible liquid items. I had kind of a never-ending supply of those.
Yeah,
so
right.
It was kind of a on the reg thing, and don't necessarily recommend it, but would definitely put you in a place of heavy introspection for a very long period of time. And like I said, don't necessarily recommend it. Not a good idea.
Yeah, I certainly I also know a guy who used to imbibe on the liquid form of the LSD quite frequently and in quite heavy doses. And sure, some great times were had, but yeah, certainly not something you go to a elementary school and recommend the kids get into and run around with coursing through their system.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. Those kids get wacky, I'm telling you. They get wacky.
A little, yeah.
They get zany.
They grow up to run multinational corporations, I'm sure.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's true.
But when you're in an altered state, they can be really enjoyable. Because they're really imaginative and unfiltered and present. The company can be enjoyable.
the company, kids are enjoyable to be around. I think
When you're on acid.
just pretty much most of the time, honestly. Most
Only
of the
not
time,
when
kids
not
are
when
pretty-
you're tired.
Kids are pretty goofy. Well, yeah.
Mm.
But normally when I'm tired, like they're getting tired, and then it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you guys got to go to bed, and I'm probably going to stay up for 3 or 4 more hours, even though I'm tired also. But you got to go to bed. But now I can kind of do my own thing for a little bit here, so you know. It's a weird thing.
It is. But, you know, clearly the three of us have really enjoyed it at some stage in our lives.
It has happened, I would say. Once, this one time, just because of being responsible, you know.
And I'm trying to find.
What are you looking for?
Mm.
Trying to find a couple of pictures that Scungy sent me the other day. Crikey. Do we really share this many pictures?
Yeah, oh my God, so many. That's what I think every time I try to find one.
I'm so glare. Can you even see that?
It's not the first time that it's happened to me, that I've had a tree snake come up from under the bonnet while I'm driving and slither up the windscreen.
Whoa.
That was a what is it? This 80k or 100k speed limit there too. So you could have been screaming along the road when he's popped up.
Well, yeah, but so then I had all the kids in the car, and we were like, and we like tried to slow down, and we turned around so we could take it back to where it came from. But at some point it went up onto the roof, and once it went on the roof, it was done for.
Whoosh.
It fell off, yeah. And we went back to see it. It seemed okay, like it was really wary and in shock, or, you know, what was going on, but it was near some
It's having a hard time, huh?
yeah, it was. But yeah, it was near to you know, trees and gardeny stuff, so it went off in there.
Mickham, no, it's a common tree snake, non-venomous, very common around here. Probably hence the name common tree snake.
Yeah, it's funny too, because the last time it's the same kind of snake, different place, quite a long time in between. But yeah, so it must be the kind of place that they like to.
Probably just the warmth. A motionless vehicle that still has warmth on the engine. I think that's generally a snake's biggest lure to a engine bay of a motor vehicle. Find a warm spot, curl up, go to sleep, and then all of a sudden they woke up going 80 kilometres an hour. What is it?
But yeah, it's quite a surprise when the little head starts popping up.
What do you got? What is it? Go and have a look. Go and check. Dogs come out incredibly interested. That's something.
My dog is incredibly interested in being patted.
Yeah, she likes it.
Reminding me that's what she likes. Hi.
Not Nola Jane. Almost never sees snakes.
Aww. That's a shame.
Pardon me.
You almost never see snakes?
Yeah, they kind of just part of the scenery around here.
I guess I don't really see snakes around here very often. That's true.
Yeah, well, snakes wouldn't like it there. There's too much variation in the weather.
Yeah, the weather's too wild.
Or like my old man used to say about windy roads up hilly terrain. The road's so windy, even snakes don't go up there.
That's great.
Wow.
Black vipers. We don't have black vipers down here if you're talking to me. Oh, Two Dogs might be talking to Tropico. And what are those fancy looking, what are these? A water moccasin the same as a cottonmouth? They are the same snake, aren't they?
I think so.
And they also call
I don't know.
Birdilance. What'd you say, Scungy?
I don't know. I have no knowledge on that.
Mickham, is that the same one species that Norway has? Because I believe Norway only has, I think it's got 4 species of snakes in Norway and only one of them's venomous. I wouldn't be surprised if Sweden's venomous snake is the same as the lone venomous snake in Norway. Exactly, Casval. I keep wanting to calling him Casual Dakin, but it is Casval, isn't it? Yeah, we got plenty, BJ. Plenty of snakes down here that aren't venomous. All of our pythons aren't venomous. We've got a few, like the tree snake, elapids that aren't venomous, and not many of them, but and lots of mildly venomous snakes as well that really wouldn't stitch you up too bad.
Yeah, there's heaps like that.
Bomber Steve in at a great time because I believe Bomber Steve's avatar is a snake.
I hear my daughter up there. She's going wild. She doesn't want to go to bed.
All that talk about telling kids you've got to go to bed when the adults get to stay up a few hours. She had a bloody glass on your door, didn't she? She was listening.
She knows what's going on. She knows what time it is. She knows it's time for bed, and she don't like that. She doesn't like that as much.
Ah, nice one, Casval. And shall I say that Casval is not the first person to tell me that I've said their name right. Must be one of my natural talents of being able to say names right. Now, how can I turn that into income?
You just go around pronouncing people's names loudly.
And hold my hand out.
Yeah.
I said it right. $20.
Huzzah!
Vipera berus. I'm going to take an imaginary note to Google that later.
The almost better trick there would be like you ask people their name and then you just repeat it back to them.
Oh,
and then you're like, hey, pronunciation champ. How about a little something for the champ, you know?
Yeah, then you'd be probably more known as the repeating champ or some nonsense. Pardon me.
Probably a good point.
Black races. Not an Australian snake. I would imagine that potentially another name for black mambas because they move incredibly fast. Although I have a strange feeling maybe that's another name for rat snakes in the States, maybe black races, or a snake on the subcontinent, India or Southeast Asia, somewhere around there might be a black racer. Yeah, maybe yeah. Maybe my first thing might have been accurate, that it might be another name for one of the American rat snakes. Oh, Bomber Steve might be able to chime in. Bomber Steve, clearly a snake dude, brown snake relocator in Australia down here. I really should stop breeding soldier flies. They get really intent to want to be in my face, bloody soldier flies.
Getting all up in your grill.
Yeah, I don't know, Bomber Steve, I don't know if you've seen the brown snake video on my YouTube channel from about two years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now. Crikey. It's been a while. That was awesome. It wasn't filmed the best or narrated the best, but it was great having two big boy browns in my backyard having a fight.
Two big boy browns, huh?
Yeah. Oh, if I said two big brown boys in my backyard having a fight, I might have got cancelled again.
It might have been a little weird, yeah. True.
I would have had all of my Latino fans howling hell at me. They're the brown people, aren't they? And the Indians. Here we go. Now I'm really getting cancelled. Oh yeah, I've got a few nice carpet ones as well. Steve and Bandy video. That was good fun. Scungy was there that time, filming me poke the Bandy. What else have I got? Brown
The
tree
Bandy
snakes. They're beautiful snakes. One of my favorite looking snakes. Yeah, good snake videos for a fish channel. Actually, no, I'd specify in my channel description, don't I? Fish and reptiles and birds and nonsense and crap. Yeah, small snakes are always more dangerous than big snakes, in my opinion, because they're just as venomous and they're a hell of a lot more defensive. Got to protect themselves against many more threats than a large adult snake. I forgot what I was about to say. No, completely gone. What else is going on?
Lost it.
Oh, who was it? BJ, I think, mentioned Winter Soldier. Who's he fight with? Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, I've not been terribly interested in taking part of that television show, but apparently it got more viewers than The Mandalorian and some other show that got lots. Oh, WandaVision.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
The Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's a Marvel.
Is that what the show is called?
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because the two main characters are the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're Marvel comics, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's it's the next Marvel Cinematic Universe televisual broadcasting type show that they've put out.
I think the only Marvel movie I watched was that one that you showed me. It was so bad. So bad. What was that? The one with the African one.
Oh, yeah, Black Panther. That was nonsense. That was terrible.
Really bad. So,
but yeah, it was.
So
it's
I
a
think
very.
that's the only one I've seen.
It was a very hard list to pinpoint from because a lot of I'm probably going to annoy a considerably long list of people when I say that most of the Marvel the Marvel movies I don't enjoy very much at all. But then some of them are pretty good. And then I go the other day and lose 4 hours of my life to that bloody Zack Snyder. Oh, crikey, what was it called? Justice League. The Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then that made me appreciate the value of some Marvel movies because, by crikey, I didn't see the first version of that, but that was terrible. It was so long and overdone. Convince me otherwise if you like.
Oh, the 4-hour version? No. I mean,
it kind of it had to be done.
There may come a time where I end up watching it just to have watched it. But I feel like the redemption tour of that is not really like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be good. It will redeem itself. It's like, why wasn't it good out the gate, man? Like, what the, you know what I mean? like, and I think they spent an extra $70 million to produce this version, is what I read. With the editing and the reshoots and the processing and the special effects and blah blah blah. $70 million to put out the same movie but long.
Yeah, with extra bits. It's like, they used to take movies into the cutting room and leave a whole bunch of stuff on the cutting room floor, but I'm assuming that Zack Snyder left absolutely nothing on the floor. Oh, and
well, the thing is, like, that's what happened because he made the other one,
Yeah, and then someone died or something, and he had to go away, didn't he? Or couldn't complete it.
Shoot. You know what? I don't know that.
It was either Joss Whedon or J.J. Abrams. One of the J's came along and finished it or something.
I don't think it was J.J. Abrams because I think it would have been
I think it was Joss Whedon.
DC.
Yeah, good point.
I think. Well, maybe he could have. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows, and they could.
But yeah, like Tropico says, it's one of those things, I guess, that just should be watched because it's still part of their massive storyline, and it had a very, very similar storyline to those last two big Marvel ones, where what were they called? Infinity War and Endgame.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, Zip Gun. It was Joss Whedon. Yeah, it is a long, long, long commitment of time to watch the movie, but
right.
Watch it in installments. The movie is done in chapters.
Like, I might watch it sometime. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that I'm not ever going to watch it because that's just like a really kind of lame declarative statement to make, right?
Yeah.
But,
plus, with me putting it down, you're going in with pretty low expectations, so maybe you'll enjoy it.
Well, here's the thing: like, I saw the original. You know what I mean?
I didn't.
The 2-hour version, and people are like, "Oh, it's so much better than the 2-hour version." And it's like, the 2-hour version wasn't very good, so it's like for it to be better is kind of like, well, okay, but it still has the 2 hours of the bad movie in it, right? And they're like, well, yeah, it has those parts in there. Like, okay, well, so it has at least 50% of a bad movie inside its movie, right? You're like, well, how good can it be? Right? So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's one of those things that's a little suspect to me. I'm like, if you spent $70 million, like, why didn't you just make a new movie?
Yeah, I think
you could have legitimately gone to the DC catalog and just picked like some story that they haven't done yet.
Or even just a random superhero character that only has 2 appearances in comic books across 50 years.
Or just anything. You could have made any movie, But here we are with the like, we're gonna remake a movie But this is like literally we're gonna remake a movie that we already made. You know what I mean? Like recently.
G'day, Jeffrey Watts. Did I miss anyone else coming in? If I did, I apologise. Oh, Bomber Steve was watching a snake catch of a brown snake, which turned out to be a common tree snake.
Oh.
And yes, I do fully agree with your comment before, Steve, to who was it? To Kazval, I think, about probably knows more about Australian snakes than most Australians do. Oh, hang on, I may be misreading that. Probably know more than most Australians about their own snakes. Yeah, lots of Australian people are so uneducated about our own snakes. And, they don't want to be told either. You try and correct people when they get snakes wrong and show their nonsense. People just do that. But yeah, I think potentially Zack Snyder might have went to the David Lynch School of Cinematography, where they both seem to really, really enjoy lingering on shots and keeping extra minutes of stuff that really doesn't add to the storytelling.
Right.
G'day, Greg. Greg the Guppy guy. And I said hi to you, Jeffrey Watts, didn't I? GRB. GRB, how are you, mate? Welcome. Had to meet his obligation. I see.
The obligation.
Black Widow, HBO. I thought I was coming to Disney as well with the rest of the Marvel stuff. Or is Black Widow a DC? I don't know. IHSP, Calypso, how are you? People rolling in.
Say what's up. Say what's up.
Yeah, so basically, how did I get onto that? Started talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, didn't I? And then I digressed over onto DC stuff.
It's super weird that people. You just mentioned that, like the what is it? The Falcon and whoever show like
Winter Soldier
and the Winter Soldier had higher ratings than kind of anything, right?
Yeah. Was that fake news?
No. What? No. You just mentioned it. It was news to me. I was like, huh? Really? And it's not even on my radar. Like, who cares? Kind of thing to me. I'm like,
yeah. Well, that's what got me. It was like it's a show based on two like fairly nothing characters in the Marvel universe,
right? Well, because Falcon is sort of like okay, he's
like, just a dude who benefits from Stark Industries.
He's just a dude in a suit.
Yeah.
You know? And you're kind of
what are you going to say, Skunji?
I was going to ask who they were, what their stories were. I don't know anything about anything that you guys are talking about.
Oh.
So, yeah. That's why I'm quiet. But then I was going to, you're saying they're these two small characters. So I was going to say, who are they and where do they come from? And what's their story? What's the basis of...
Well, they're from Marvel. They're from the Marvel universe, but they're really like, so the Winter Soldier is like Bucky, who is Captain America's pal, and then obsession, like trying to save him from being bad, and then he's bad, and then he's good, and then
I didn't follow that. Is Captain America is a bad person or a good person?
No, he's good. He's Captain America.
And so his sidekick is a bad person?
He becomes a bad guy. He gets brainwashed by bad guys.
And that's who this character is, or he's similar to him?
Yeah, that's who he is.
Okay.
He's Captain America's friend, and then he becomes a soldier, and then he becomes like... Is he like mutant? Or does he just have like the bionic arm and all that? Like,
yeah, I think maybe before he was given the whatever it is, it's an injection or something that they did, wasn't
Right.
it, to make the super soldiers? I
Right.
think he'd already lost his arm, and then he became the super soldier, and they gave him the bionic arm as well or something. Someone who knows
like that,
much
right.
more about Marvel could tell me about that probably more.
Jeffrey Watts is mentioning The Boys on Amazon, which, by the way, that's my favorite superhero show of late. But Amazon Prime has a new show that I wanted to talk about because not only is it's fine art, it's a drawing animation. But
Does
it's
does it start with I and end in Invincible?
Yes. Have you watched it?
I have. I've watched 3 episodes. I'm assuming that's all that's up still.
That's all that's out still. Quite good so far, I have to admit.
Well, it's funny that Jeff mentions the Boys as well, because after watching the well, I thought you'd both gone to sleep then. You both froze on me. After watching the first 3 episodes of Invincible, it made me go back to season 1, episode 1 of The Boys and start that again.
It's a great show.
It is so good. So dark and so happy at the same time.
It's very you know what? I have to admit, it is very dark, but in a good way, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Good guess.
it's
Yes. Good
pretty
guess.
arguable to be like, you know, like, no, it's not. Like, yeah, I think it's in a pretty good,
Come back
good
here.
way, you know?
Yeah, and you know, when I started watching, well, for starters, when I first started watching Invincible, like the first 30 something minutes, I'm thinking, why is this R-rated?
Right.
And then and then pretty
like, oh,
pretty close to the last few minutes of the first episode, it certainly earns that R rating. Sorry if I've chucked some spoilers out there, people. G'day, Jeff Rose.
yeah, I don't know if that's a spoiler. That's just like, hey, it tells you that it has strong content. And then it turns out that it does.
I suppose part of that is that you don't expect a cartoon to go for longer than half an hour. And
I guess that's also true.
I've been hanging out for the blood and guts for 27 minutes now. Where is it? Bring it on.
Where's the blood? Where's the guts?
Come up
And then they certainly supply
here.
you with enough to balance out the episode.
Come on.
Satiate.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea, Jeffrey. You'll watch Invincible and probably want to watch what's it called? The Boys again as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, with a lot of superhero stuff now, it's just chock full of tropes. It's just unavoidable. And thankfully, most television and movie viewers nowadays are educated on the suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you just learn to love those tropes because you got to expect them with superhero stuff.
It's true. You just got to expect the unexpected. It's gonna go further than you thought, more often than not these days, because it's one of the you know, it's realistically it's what they got now, you know. It's like, oh, we got the free pass to finally do all of this content. Now I forget who was I was listening to somebody who was talking about it earlier today, and I had forgotten just how much censorship was put on any kind of mass production of say comics and graphic novels and stuff like that in the US by these sort of puritanical groups in the past. And I'd kind of forgotten about that. I had forgotten how wonky that business was for a long, long time, that they would allow it to be in print, but they wouldn't allow any of the media companies to do very much as far as like harder content with stuff that was like comic book based, because they always got away with it with the like, this is for kids, and it's like, no, this is not for kids. The kid stuff is for kids. This is for adults. It just happens to be a type of animation, or drawing or whatever, and I think like, because I remember like when Vampire Hunter D came out, like that was a big, like people freaked out that like people had copies of it. Oh my God. Because the Puritans were losing their minds.
But when the comic came out, you mean? Didn't that got made into a show as well, didn't it?
What's that?
Vampire Hunter D. You're talking about the show?
The show, yeah. When the show came out, people were freaking.
Right.
Because it's like it's one of those things where, oh my God, it's animated, but it's not for the children. They're not allowed to do that, and it's like, well, yeah, they are. Like, like, hey man, freedom of speech goes, for everybody, kind of deal. But it didn't, for a long time, like people in the US couldn't really publish that much or get the funding for it. Like the companies were basically like, all these weird Puritan groups will have quote unquote outrage over the content or whatever that you put out. So most of the production companies wouldn't put money into it,
Casval has a aquarium related question regarding plants, asking if Ludwigia Rubin is worth buying for a low-tech tank. Now, to the best of my knowledge, there's not a lot of Ludwigias that are good in low-tech. Am I correct or wrong in that?
You're the opposite.
Lots of Ludwigia are cool for low tank, are they? Low tech.
Generally, yes. Most every Ludwigia variant, minus some of the really weird messed with ones, basically, will do pretty relatively well in a low tech tank. They don't need a ton of light. They don't need like crazy nutrients and whatnot, and they certainly don't need a ton of care. S says, I forgot Dr. Black and Joel need to watch Death Note. I swear I've seen
That sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
It sounds familiar, like I've seen it. But as far as Ludwigia goes, like most of them can grow pretty well. Most of them can grow pretty well.
In the crack of your bum if you stand still long enough.
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've only ever kept one Ludwigia before, but I can't remember what species it was or what thing it was.
I might go because I don't know anything about TV shows and my headphones are hurting my ear.
Okie doke.
Alrighty.
Show us your pictures before you go. Again.
What? The same ones from today?
Yeah. There's extra people in here that weren't in here earlier.
I feel like.
And of course, we are trying to drum up a little bit of petrol money for you.
Mm-hmm.
And GRB has awesomely posted a Redbubble link. Can you also, GRB, while you're awesomely chucking links up to Sarah's Big Cartel, do you have your TikTok on your Big Cartel? Oh no, that's Linktree, where you put all your links, isn't it?
I just think that Instagram is the best because then it has got a link to the website and stuff. But I haven't updated it for a while because I really want to order prints and I want to sort of redo the website a little bit with a bit of bio and stuff and putting prints up. But yeah, I can't afford to order the prints, to sell the prints, to make money, to do other stuff. So I'm just in,
Limbo land.
Yeah. But, if you want to see the pictures, I think that Instagram is the best place to go and look at pictures.
So that's Scunch Princess at the Instagram. I don't know how to link Instagram. Is it just, it's an at as well, isn't it? At Scunch Princess.
You can write like a link with your Instagram.com/, or if you just go onto Instagram, then I suppose you just do the name search and it will come up.
And Instagram, you can just DM, can't you? So, if you see something on Scunch's Instagram that you really dig, drop her a message. Tell her you want to buy it for $1 million. $1
million?
If you've got
like.
more, go
You
one
know,
point.
I won't say no.
You could certainly order a few prints with a cool mill and pay for some shipping.
And buy some paints.
All these handy things that $1 million could be used for. And then be gone.
$1 million. That door's banging around in the background.
Yeah, it's like if I shut it, the dog can actually open it. So then once she opens it, she doesn't politely close it again, and it just blows in the wind.
Right.
Yeah. You got to train them both ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. GRB has flung the Instagram link up as well. Thanks, GRB. On point as usual, sir.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm trying to be a better social media user and a braver one. And that's what I need to be. I need to be like much braver. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to put videos up and stuff on there.
I assume that's in response to the $1 million S. Only the one FX6 for $1 million.
What's an FX6?
It's a fancy, exaggerated, overpriced, overhyped filter, maybe. I don't know. I've heard people that really love them, and then I've heard people say that they're no different to a much cheaper filter. But you know.
You know what I do want though? If I had like, maybe not $1 million because, maybe. If I had lots and lots of money, I want one of those like the wall of plants with the fish tank, like that's like kind of like a pond, but it's a fish tank, so you still see in and see all the levels through the water, and all the wall with all the climbing plants and like mist and waterfalls and stuff. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some living green walls. I want to do some living walls pretty soon. Unfortunately for me, pretty soon is probably going to be 6 months. But I am going to be rebuilding my building where my fish room is, and that's one of the things that I really want to incorporate into building the building itself. It's just a big living wall in there, so we shall see if the budget will allow those kinds of construction. But it seems so far like I could probably do it because I can do it for fairly cheap because I'm going to do most of the construction myself. So
my reptile son, he's got this enclosure that he was given. Someone had let it go, but it was designed basically to have a living wall inside it, and it's plumbed down low and has a fish tank in the bottom, and he's decided to give up on that one. So potentially, if he's going to get rid of it, it might need a new home, Scungy. That could be turned into a living wall, and it's got a fish tank built into it.
Good, I'm definitely keen. Like, I love my little tank that I did, which I felt pretty good because I just wanted to make something, and it, got in there, and like, I love it, but it's just little. I want something that's like.
Oh yeah, that's a very good recommendation, actually, Casval. Serpa design. I may have even shared a Serpa design or two video with you, Scungy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tanner.
Yeah,
Tanner's an awesome dude. That guy's a radical. He's an awesome dude. Love that guy.
It goes full tilt, but there's certainly certainly a lot of quality YouTube operators out there that are making very, very awesome paludariums and stuff like that are the best of both worlds.
That's what I want so much. Sorry, my brain just went blank because I was thinking of something else that we saw that I was thinking would be
at the expo in Melbourne.
Not at the expo in Melbourne. No, I still want to do the like aquaponic veggies.
Yeah.
So much.
That'll be going in the greenhouse. We tore down our old greenhouse and the new one. I was supposed to dig the holes for it this last weekend for the posts, but I ended up having to build some other stuff instead.
It sounds like someone's got a case of the sposters.
Well, I got a lot of stuff done, so it's fine. And then this next weekend, I have to break down I have to remove a chimney out of a house, a brick chimney. So that's going to be fun. So I think the posts are going to go in the weekend after this one. And that's going to be pretty heavily utilizing a lot of aquaponics and stuff. So
how big of a aquaponic setup are you planning?
So I'm actually I've got a 180 gallon tank that's going to go in it, a water reservoir. I already have all the plumbing and everything all ready to go, and then I'm going to do 2 elevated rolling tables that are 8 feet long by 3 feet wide, so I can sprout enough for the garden pretty easily. Because we have a garden that I built here that has 16 raised beds, I think, and then a bunch of trellises and some other stuff. And we're sprouting some of the things right now, but it's a little bit early. And we're just sprouting those indoors because it's too cold outside.
Is that your primary goal with your aquaponics setup? Is just to strike your seedlings and whatnot, and then move them outside?
We'll start the seedlings, move those outside. Propagation. So I can propagate things like blueberry bushes. I can propagate raspberries, so that I can end up with more than just the raspberry plants like naturally spreading, so I can seed new beds for those. And then I'm definitely going to do a bunch of aquarium plants in there. And I'm going to have some permanent, probably some permanent plants. Now, the unfortunate thing is, it's like aquaponics run really well with like tomatoes and whatnot, but we find that when we have like a wild abundance of tomatoes, it just ends up being the projects that Vicky ends up having to jar them and has to do all these canning all the time. And then we end up with all this like jarred tomatoes, just shelves of them, and it's like, we can only eat so much spaghetti and like, Italian dishes only so often, it's like, are you making another roast? And it's like, well, we got to use these tomatoes again, it's like, and so I'm thinking that I'm probably going to start doing a lot of microgreens in there, because we do go through a lot of microgreens, and like butter lettuces and stuff like that, that man, we even had a butter lettuce that has survived the entire winter here, just out in one of the raised beds. I don't know if it's some kind of mutated genetic variant that survives in the snow. But by all,
aren't they the
like-
ones with the thicker leaves? Aren't they designed for colder climates?
dude,
No.
we had 2 feet of snow at one point. Like the colder climates, like okay, maybe, but like not frozen climates. Like, come on.
Yeah, right.
But we had that survive, and then so the shard, we actually have some red shard. That survived this last winter, which that kind of makes sense. That you're like, okay, that plant can handle some wacky weather. But butter lettuce is like so fragile. I mean, you like fart at it in the wrong at the wrong velocity, and it gets damaged. You know what I mean? So it's weird that we have that one that survived. But hopefully, I'll be able to do like things like butter lettuce and microgreens. And then we were doing what do you call that? When you take the grain and you sprout the grain for the chickens. There's like a name for it. I can't remember right now because I'm kind of tired. But
Chicken grain sprouting.
Yeah, you take like spent grain and then you sprout it and it makes little sprouts. And so like the chickens can eat the spent grain without sprouting it, but they get like a ton more nutrients and everything if you grow it into these little tiny sprouts and then feed it to them that way. So I think that would be a good thing to like kind of show people how to do.
Humans do too. Get anything that's sprouted is more nutritious.
Right. Well, that's true. But I would never eat spent grain. I'm not a crazy person, but I would eat it sprouted. So, it would be weird to just chew on that dry garbage, like, oh God.
If you're an experienced storer of vegetables, I have a chili bush at the moment that is abundant with chilies and constantly getting chilies off them. But unfortunately, we don't use that many chilies in the house. So I have to store them. What's the best way to store chilies apart from putting them in the freezer, which I'm not really a fan of because I think it ruins their texture.
Well, you want to dry them. You want to do dried chilies. So you need to do a dehydrator. Now, to be honest with you, I've done dried chilies a million times with like a 40% fail rate, maybe. like I have a tendency to like screw it up. And I've never really identified like what it was that had screwed it up. You know what I mean? So, it's a kind of a weird proposition to try and teach somebody how to do something that I screwed up so readily. And maybe Vicky knows how to do it better, and maybe we could collaborate on something. Because it's like, it seems to me that like almost every place that does the chili drying, like they wouldn't let me tour their facility or do the or learn the secrets. They wouldn't let me learn their secrets. Whereas almost every other food company that I dealt with over the years would like at the very least give you some pointers on what they were doing.
Bit of guidance.
But the chili guys never wanted to like, let it out. They didn't want to. They were very closed lips about their chili stuff. But maybe I should just look up a YouTube video. Maybe somebody has some good tips on that.
I've certainly, actually, I haven't even thought of doing that. But I've certainly hung and dried chilies in the past. But I'm not sure if doing that to them would be conducive to the way they're used mostly in my household.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I've done it in the past. GRB, the hanging them up out in the sun to dry. Not necessarily.
Well, you can always rehydrate them and make a sauce out of them. That's something I know how to do, like crazy.
Yeah, the most regular use in my house is in chili relish or chili jam. So I'm not sure if once they're dried, whether you get I'm sure you'll get the same flavors and stuff, but whether you want, because obviously you're going to lose that meaty flesh of the chili, but then again, don't you lose that anyway when in the boiling process of making the chili jam?
Yeah, but if you're making chili jam, then you're just looking at, you just want to be jarring it, because jarring it will make it self-stable, for a long time.
Oh yeah, once it's made, but I'm talking about the the piles of chilies waiting to be processed.
But you got to pick them and then make jam and make sauce. Make it while they're fresh.
And then you put it in the jars. And then,
also,
you store it away in your root cellar. Do you have a root cellar? Just
you have to take over the jam making, Mikey.
Yeah, I do. But every time I've gone to Woolworths, they're out of large gloves. And the last time I cut the chilies without gloves, I had tingly fingers for almost a week. It was wild. And if I try and put on the small gloves, they just break. But yeah, potentially.
It's funny because your hands are not that big.
You need to get nitrile gloves is what you need.
Yeah, well, I was especially looking for those black ones because then I can use them for murders later as well.
That's true. Or tattoos.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. All that.
We just refer to that as doing tattoos.
Oh, right. Yes. I like it. Yes. Now I've got a euphemism instead of just telling the world that I'm off to do a murder.
I'm just doing some tattoo artwork.
Yeah, just doing some.
Has anyone seen my nitrile gloves? I must just go tattooing.
But yes, what you say is correct, Scunge Princess, that I don't have massive hands. My fingers are all right getting into most gloves, but when you get to this really broad, wide part of my hand, that tends to be when they break.
They shatter.
Even mediums. But then I get to a large glove and I put a large glove on my hand and there's room to move. So it's like there's no middle ground between a medium and a large. Give me a not quite large, please.
Well, you just want like a heavier duty medium then, Yeah,
one that
you want like a 6 mil, You want like a 6 mil or something like that. The thicksters is what we call them.
Thicksters. I like it. Yeah, I'm based on my current massive backlog, I think I will be forcing my way into some gloves real soon and doing a massive batch and a massive jar up and a massive stocking of the larder out in the garage that's currently full of many jams and preserves and pickles and whatnots. But yes, I think you're also right, Scungy, that I need to take over those duties and learn some of my mum's ancient recipes of jam and chili making and stuff.
Making chili.
Hey, Jeffrey. Jeffrey's all over it. You see what I did there, Jeffrey? You can fish drop it.
Well, here's the thing, like with Invincible, see, the Scunge could be into that. You know what I'm saying? Because not only is it animated,
I like animation.
The artwork is pretty smooth. Like I think, the artwork is kind of uniquely stylized in a very finished way, which I don't normally like in graphic novel form personally, but it lends itself well to watching as like a show. So I've definitely enjoyed the animation and the storyline. The storyline has kind of an intense arc to it that puts itself in a way where you're like, you start out and you go like, oh yeah, okay, this is just normal goofy nonsense. But like Blacky said, you get to that point where you kind of go like, oh wait a minute, this is way different than what I was thinking was going to be happening here. Yeah. And then you make that noise out loud and you go, and then you're like, okay, I want to know what happens next.
Yeah, it's certainly a show chock full of anticipation, because you can see this inevitable thing that's going to happen, and maybe it's going to start happening now, and all that kind of stuff. Did you ever see the Boondocks cartoon?
Me?
Yeah, or both of you, either of you, all of you.
I have, yeah.
Not,
Yeah, I found it a very, obviously the humans were designed a wee bit different, but the overall animation style, I found it quite similar to that, with the occasional chucking in of 3D kind of rendered stuff, but mostly still two-dimensional looking animation. It was quite a bit of a callback to the Boondocks for me, which is also a fantastic animation for those wanting fantastic animations.
It is quite the good. That is quite the good animation. I'm gonna be honest with that one right there.
Great show. It's got a lot of rewatch potential.
It definitely does. Some of the jokes maybe didn't stand the test of time all that well, but most of it does.
And what a stepping stone for Regina King's career.
Is that where she started out?
She probably started before then, but she did Huey and Riley's voices in that.
Right.
Sorry, Scungy, you were about to say something, and I've really got to go and wrestle a certain crocodile. But I'll still be able to hear you.
I think I was only going to ask if the Invincible, is that what show you guys are talking about?
Yeah.
Is the one that you said there's only a few episodes up yet?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of ropes you in that 3 episodes. It's pretty good
big time.
to get you roped in that amount of time, Lots of shows.
I like
lots
to
of
wait
shows
till
these
all
days-
the episodes are there. That's all right.
Oh, you like it when they're all there? Well, it's actually I kind of hearken. I like the I kind of I'm torn. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm torn, but I like the I kind of like the they come out once a week now. I like being able to binge a show, but also like it's with like an animation, there's not going to be a new series like series 2, or is that? I feel like I'm saying the wrong word. Like series 1, series 2. Is that correct?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know. You get what I'm saying? Like part 1, because there's episodes and then a series, right? I don't. Yeah. Well, like series 2 isn't going to come out for a long time because like animation just takes a long time to like do all the voiceover,
sure.
all that kind of stuff. But luckily, the story is written, so like most of the story is there as far as so that they won't necessarily run into the Game of Thrones problem. Like, the storylines exist. But I like that weekly thing with the weekly episode coming out because, if I binge watch a show, like say if I'd like binge watched like the Queen's Gambit, like the Queen's Gambit came out, right? And if I just binged watched it, I probably would have watched it in just like, a couple of days or something, or maybe even one day on a weekend or something, and then I would have just totally forget everything that happened by the time that like season 2 came out. And I was saying series instead of season. That was my problem. I was just like getting a brain rot. I think I have brain rot today.
I think
when you're waiting for season 2 and you just watched all the episodes in like a really short period, it's hard to go like, wait a minute, what was going on in this show?
I guess that I just don't really watch much TV.
Yeah,
and so when I do, like say for example, a weekend, I don't have my kids and I can watch big, a bulk of shows. I don't like just watching one episode and then what do I watch now? Right. So then I don't watch the telly, which is good too. It's good.
Yeah, I think the 1 episode a week or 2 episodes a week, which some shows do, gives you a bit more time to process and remember stuff.
Mm-hmm. For me, that works better. But yeah, I get where you're like, you have a certain time that you can watch a show, and maybe that's just kind of how you want to spend the weekend. And I fully, I get that. It makes sense.
Potentially when
It's usually social watching, actually.
usually, well, not usually, but potentially when you're also forced into that. This is my TV watching 7 hours, so I'm going to have to squeeze a lot of viewing in. Maybe your memory retention and stuff becomes more active and stuff because you haven't been dithering around lots of television. Now it's television time. Maybe your brain works on a level of retaining all of that extra television that you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. My brain's not really good at retaining. It used to be really, really good at retaining stuff, and now it's just like it's learned the art of letting go.
Mm-hmm.
So things just come in and they go again.
Oh,
yeah,
that's how it works.
Who was I talking with that about? I was talking to this guy about that a little while ago. But actually, like essentially losing memory is sort of a function of humans living a long life. And it's like actually important for our healthy brain function, right? So like people with an eidetic memory, right? They can remember everything that happened. And those people, like, they go crazy by the time they're like maybe 30 and end up like, offing themselves because they can just remember everything that has ever happened.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but like, it's just sort of like one of the elements of being human, you know what I mean? To legitimately just be able to function day to day without like having this crazy amount of information just swirling into your brain when you're just trying to have a kind of a basic interaction. Does that make sense?
But
wise choice, Jeffrey. Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I kind of trailed off.
Scungy, I was meaning. She started saying something, but then.
Yeah, but you forgot the part where I said things come in my brain and they leave my brain.
Well, I'm just saying that's a good thing.
I don't hang on real tight, I used to it can be frustrating though when it's important things that you need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could select which things I will keep and which things I'm going to let go of. In the long run, your whole life, you can't keep all those memories. That's fine. But I just want to keep the ones I choose and then let go of the ones I choose. That'd be a good way to do it.
I think that's why they invented cameras and voice recorders. Mental note, must remember this when I'm 77.
Yeah. Must remember. Very important.
But the problem is that you taint your memories, even like within your own mind, or this is my experience, is that I have something and there's a memory and I treasure it. And so I go, I'm going to keep that safe and but what I do is every time it's like I change it and shape it to fit. And every time I go back to it, it's, and it's never as good. If I treasure it too much and hold on to it too hard, then it still loses all the qualities. It's just like the memory of the memory. I have the memory that I had that beautiful memory and that it felt really beautiful to remember it, but I don't necessarily still connect to it because it's changed.
Yeah.
And and it's the same what they say about like photos and stuff, that they really negatively affect our memory because then we only remember things in the light of the photo, and a lot of the other facts can recede or change to fit that because we keep looking back at it. Being able to actually look at it and store it doesn't preserve it, just changes it into something else.
Yeah, that term memory of a memory is, I think, very poignant in human existence, because even when we relate our memories and our stories to people, we don't tell the same story every single time. We embellish. The story gets a little bit different, and the more times we change little things in the story, then we make small changes to that memory ourselves by convincing ourselves that it happened this way and not that way, sort of thing. It's an interesting thing that humans do to our own brains. Pardon me.
Wow.
I am still going to
Wow.
have to go though,
Oh.
because it's getting close to school bus time, and
Oh, the
my
kids
ear
coming
does still
home.
hurt. Yeah, not quite yet, but like I might want to put on pants and stuff before they get home.
Pants. Oh.
Just a couple of things that I'll do prior to them walking in the door.
Righto then. Oh, g'day, Jez. How are you? Jester's Aquariums. Long time no see.
The Jesse.
So are you going to go this time? I'm trying to think of what other subject I can dive to that we keep with here.
But yeah, I will go and say goodbye and thank you for having me. But I'll come back, if you want me. I kind of feel like I sometimes don't have a lot of relevant stuff to say. So
I'm pretty impressed, because we've been going for just over 2 hours, and it was nearly minutes into the stream that you turned up. So to have you here for pretty much a whole 2 hours is pretty impressive, and I appreciate it. I'm sure the viewers appreciate it. I'm sure Joel appreciates having, something a little bit prettier than us on the screen. And
I think like these guys.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah, sure. And no matter what you say, when you've got input that you give us, it's all valued and appreciated. I know you don't apply a heavy weight to your own input, but it's certainly valid and appreciated. So thank you.
Indeed.
Oh,
Indeed. Thank you.
If I can think of words, then that's good. When I can't think of any words, then all right. Well, yeah. Thank you, and have a good stream, and I'll see you.
All right. Thank you.
Probably.
Talk to you shortly.
Bye, everyone.
Sooner than later.
Now the sluggy duck picture is getting compared to Corvus. What have you done, Corvus, to earn these correlations?
A bunch of goofy nonsense.
That must be it.
What the hell?
Mate, your beard, I think, must take the shape of its tentacles off its chin.
Agreed.
I mean, I assumed that mine was today, because mine's all over the place, but can't do anything with it. The other day, I thought I'd have some fun and games, and I got the brush out, and I brushed with it. This is before I trimmed all this nonsense off, and I brushed it all up like this.
Yeah.
God darn it! I wish I took photos that day. It made me laugh. It made me laugh a lot. Oh, I used to do that too, Jeffrey Watts. I used to do the Lincoln, where I'd have no moustache and none of this, and just the beard, shave the sides off it. But yeah, now it's just I just don't like shaving. I mean, I shaved my armpits the other day. That was just necessity, though.
You shave your armpits.
Yeah, sometimes I just got to, because in the when it gets too sweaty and stuff, it they just turn into dreadlocks.
Oh.
So I mean, it had been probably almost a year since I'd done them previously. Probably last summer when the same thing was happening, but yeah, just sometimes I get that feel that they've just got to go, so they go.
Got it.
Just proving it if people didn't believe me. Because there's you know, when humans walk, we move our arms, and if you've got dreadlocks in your armpits, they can pull and pinch and stuff. So no one needs that hassle.
One needs that pain. Useless pain.
Oh yeah, I've done waxing and stuff before, Tropico as well.
Ah.
Waxing's interesting, but every time I've been waxed, I get like massive amounts of pimples.
Pimples.
Yeah, like they say you're supposed to thoroughly exfoliate before you wax or some shit. And maybe I should have done that, but you know, it's not exactly a thing that I do very often. It's just things that have happened. Oh, g'day, Fishy Biz and Alien World Aquatics. What? Now there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Where you been, Scotty?
Where you been?
That's probably what Obi-Wan should have said to R2. Because that was one thing that always spun me out about episode 4 after all of this other stuff, was that Obi-Wan knew full well who R2 was.
Mm-hmm.
But he played the senile old man in episode 4, pretending not to know who R2 was.
The whole thing makes no sense sometimes. I mean, let's be honest here.
Well, I mean, when we know the history that you know, episode 4, even though I was led to believe when I was a child that there was a hell of a lot of story written, apparently now that we know the history, there wasn't. George didn't have a massive plan when he first put Star Wars out. Mm-hmm. It sort of evolved over the first 3 movies. Where have you guys all come from? All of a sudden I'm surrounded by flies. Oh, that's all right. I just opened my armpit to the world, didn't I?
Yep.
And they come flying in. Doesn't smell like old steak.
It does. I'm sorry. It smells like old steak.
I mean, we get accustomed to our own smell. It could smell worse than old steak for all I know. Fishy Biz as well, long time no see. Actually, that's a lie, isn't it? I think Fishy Biz was in here a few weeks ago and we were talking about that stuff that we was going to do one day that we still never got around to, that we still might do one day. Goodness.
What were we going to do?
Well, going back many, many years on the Dr. Thirsty Mate live stream that Aquamate, Thirsty Rabbit and myself used to do, Fishy Biz and myself had a rap-off.
Oh.
Where we, we made up silly raps about each other and... And, you know, it didn't necessarily go so well. And then Fishy Biz and I got to talking and stuff and thought that we should do some kind of fish tube related rap collaboration. So, you know, we've got some beats and stuff provided by Apart, worldwide known producer. I.e., or also known as, I should say, aka my son.
My son.
So yeah, I've pretty much can't blame Fishy Biz for any of the slackness. It's all on me,
Right.
as Fishy Biz is shouting at me now that we need to make it happen.
Hey, why not? Why not? Go for it. Let's do it.
I had like a couple of pages of lyrics written too. God knows where they are now. Probably means I should rewrite anyway. And yeah, we'll make it happen, because it'll probably go huge. Because both based on the rap battle that we already had, clearly Fishy Biz and myself both have massive rapping skills.
Monumental rapping skills, right?
That's probably putting it lightly as well.
It's too
And,
late.
you know, monumental rapping skills over awesome beats. Viral. I smell virus.
The virus is coming.
Oh, did I say freestyle? I didn't mean freestyle. I only freestyle heavy metal. I can't freestyle rap. Oh, found oh, hang on. He's still living. Found a fruit fly in my bourbon, so I'm going to have to go and feed him to my feste. But unfortunately, 2 Dougs, you won't see me feed it.
Uh-oh. Now you're stuck with me. I guess it's just the silence moment, because I don't even really have anything to mention. I don't really have much going on at this point in time, other than just continued work and preparing for the mayhem of the future.
No, GRB probably didn't drink that much, but I do often think if they because most insects breathe through their skin, right? They don't have lungs as such. They kind of absorb and adsorb oxygen and carbon dioxide, I believe. Is that how they work? I'm no entomologist. But often my concern when I take a bug out of one of my drinks, because it does happen quite frequently that bugs get in the drinks around here. Mm-hmm. I wonder, am I passing alcohol on to my fish? Or does that adsorb once it goes into the water? I really don't want my fish being alcos. Especially so young.
I think you're all right. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different to the the tank in the frat house that gets beers and stuff poured into it.
Right.
Whatever a frat house is. Ultimate monstrous monster skills. Fishy Beers is bragging, I think. I think he's talking about himself again. Jeffrey Watts is saying, been a while since you showed any tanks. I thought you had a video on your channel like a week or so ago that was one of your planted tanks, didn't you?
I haven't really released any kind of traditional tank videos in a little while. But I mean, also at the same time, I think I've uploaded 1,200 videos to YouTube over the years or something like that. So, I mean, I know that people are always I want the new video right now, and they've become accustomed to a new video every 12 seconds, and you have to watch a new one, and you don't watch the whole thing even when you do watch somebody's video. You normally they watch half of it, and then they're like, oh my god, I gotta watch something else, and then they're like, oh my god, I gotta watch something else. So I mean, it's all good. Everything's going well. I'm just working on building and doing better projects. So I think the reality is I want to be involved in bigger productions and making making the same content just over and over again and going like, well, maybe more people will just watch this one. I think I'm kind of over that, and I do want to work on bigger productions, so I'm working on doing bigger productions, which take more time. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I generally do the live content to like continue to engage with people. To engage with the fans and do that stuff and answer questions and have fun and have laughs and stuff. But I think far too many people have come just wildly accustomed to like a new video coming out every morning or something.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the expectation now. And for somebody like me, like obviously I make money off of YouTube. But it's not like the sole function of my work. Like I work over 40 hours a week
In there.
already on a job, So,
Sorry.
It's kind of one of those things like how many jobs am I supposed to work? And, see a good result from that work. It's, I guess a good equation would be like it's like going to McDonald's versus going to like a 5-star restaurant, right? A lot of people approach YouTube like they're doing McDonald's.
I
I
agree. But it's still
I don't want to make Big Macs for people, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to make the fillet of fish sandwich, right? Like I want people to come in and have a meal that they'll remember the rest of the year, but it's a video, right?
Well, like the menu at McDonald's, it's evolved over time, and potentially the YouTube thing will evolve as well, where most of us do have this audience that expects the instant gratification and the scheduled videos and stuff, but potentially I do see a future where these interesting projects, like you say, bigger scale productions could well become a thing on a YouTube channel where instead of people expecting that 2.5 minutes of gratification before they skip to the next video, they learn to appreciate the production values and stuff that have gone into this, say, 30 or 40-minute YouTube video that may still retain their attention for a longer period of time.
Well, the weird thing is that I think that already exists. It just exists it exists on, first and foremost, it exists on Netflix, right? Like that space already exists in Netflix. And it exists on Disney Plus. It exists on Hulu. It exists on Amazon, or it exists on YouTube Premium. It exists on whatever, all the other streaming sites now. There's a million other ones now, but the HBO Max, whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many of them. I think that those spaces exist. The one difference is that, one is solely geared to like sell you advertising, which is like YouTube, right? And the way that works is that it's either the fans fund it or either the fans fund it or a company funds it or something. Like there has to be some kind of financial backing. And it's like a Netflix show generally, they like funding is granted, right? And I don't think that like the level of production that I'm at would implore onto any of those companies that I should be a candidate for some backing to do a production. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And if that content I was making already is good enough for that, then that already exists. So, okay. but I don't feel like a company would go, okay, here's what they would consider a micro tiny budget. Like, here's $2 million to make 14 episodes of a show, right? And we need them to be shot on this camera. They need to be in this format. This is how they need to be edited, blah, blah, blah. But you can make them however long you want, or this or that, or, you know, we need scripts for every episode, at least a rough outline scripting and all of that kind of stuff. You know, and the unfortunate thing is that like most YouTubers are like, oh, I'm just going to keep jamming out some kind of outlandish BS content. They just turn into a content factory, basically, of making what I would consider to be like kind of a waste of time, realistically.
Yeah, but I think the thing with
you see a lot of content from YouTubers that are like, it's just disaster porn, really. I mean,
that's
you know,
for
it's
sure.
like, oh, my fish all died, and oh, look, my fish room flooded, clickbait, you know. And you know, the unfortunate thing is like you'll probably get some subscribers and people will watch your stuff, and you'll get a minuscule slice of the ad revenue that gets, you know, you'll get a minuscule slice of ad revenue from YouTube on the back end once they've already extracted everything that they possibly could from it.
Thanks, mate.
But, you know, realistically, like my goal is to be making better content. And making better content in my mind doesn't mean like just keep making the same thing over and over again. Like if you're playing a song incorrectly, right? You don't just keep practicing it incorrectly and expect you to just suddenly play it correctly at some point. You know what I mean? Like you don't play all the wrong notes and be like, look at me, I'm getting hella good at playing Sweet Child of Mine, but you're playing all the wrong notes. You're playing some other song that's not the one you're trying to play. You know, and like two dogs must his pants one leg at a time, which I 100% agree with that. But you know, being somebody who's been making YouTube videos for like 10 years now or something, or at least posting, maybe not making, making is maybe not the right, whatever, but I've been posting for over 10 years and it's like, you know, my channel is where it's at. And, like I said, I can just continue to do the same thing and be working all of the time to continue doing the same thing, or I can, you know, I can take time and start to like rework how I do what it is that I do so that, you know, maybe I could add the drum fills properly where they're supposed to be in the song. Maybe I can follow the proper tempo no matter what and play the song correctly. That the bridge is done properly, that the chorus is in the right spot, that the lyrics are all correct. And hopefully it at least garners like a better quality product and possibly an opportunity to do more, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at. I know that was like a long explanation, but hopefully that.
I do feel that, you know, like your comparison to your streaming services and stuff, the shows that they put on streaming services are for everyone, whereas, you know, YouTube is very subject related and people go looking for the stuff that they want to see. And right. I think as this worldwide awareness of people's terrible attention spans becomes apparent to average Joes, I think we're going to have fairly soon, this is just pure speculation, that we're going to have people soon on YouTube proving that they don't have tiny little attention spans and becoming more willing to watch, you know, 20 or 30-minute videos on YouTube on subjects that they're into. Excuse me. You know, it could happen, it might not happen, and probably won't happen, but I look forward to a day where people can actually do, like you say, spend a month making a 20 or 30-minute video
Mhm.
and a video of quality subject matter and information that it intrigues people enough and keeps their interest for the entirety of the video.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've definitely learned from some people that are much better at the craft than myself. Of like, you got to have some kind of humility and go like, all right, like, take some advice from people that have a level of expertise, right? In pretty much any field. It doesn't matter what field you're in. Instead of just going like, yeah, I'm successful. Yeah, I made some money. It's like, yeah, but there's somebody else that probably knows a better process to do whatever it is that you're attempting to achieve, right? So, why wouldn't you defer to them and go like, hey, what is this? Hey, what is that? What like, what's attempted to be accomplished here, right?
Yeah.
And what's the process to get there? Like, because let's say, let's say if you're somebody who's like year 3 or year 4 in university on your PhD or whatever, like, you probably have a lot of knowledge, but you don't just run in there to your professor and be like, oh, I know it all already, and just like yell in their face and tell them to shut up, right? You'd be like, oh, I'm still consistently trying to learn new information, or a new process, or whatever it is that you're trying to figure out, and that's somebody who is showing you some of their expertise. Like, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, you should probably take that and figure out how you could apply it to whatever the heck it is that you're trying to do, and so that's a big part of what I'm currently working on, is going like, okay, who has the expertise and who demonstrates that expertise at a level that, like, I admire, and what do they have to say about whatever. And so I'm definitely trying to apply that as best I can. At this point, that's basically what I'm trying to do. So, we'll see if I can pull any of that off, but it's basically what I'm up to at this point.
Potentially, Kasval may have you off to a good start, because he's asking, is there any reason no one has made a step-by-step aquascaping guide?
There are a few out there, actually. I remember, I think George Finley from the Green Machine, I believe he did one a ways back. The guys from Green Aqua, which is like Green Machine, Green Aqua, whatnot, I believe that they have done one. I think Uriventus, I think he's done one.
Crikey,
that was pretty good. A good quality one. I think George Farmer did one, but it might be like in his book, I think now. Like, those would be some guys that did some really good ones. I think ADA actually has a step-by-step explanation. It might be in Japanese, though, and you might have to read subtitles. There are quite a few. There are some out there. You probably have to scour around to find some real quality ones, but there definitely are some out there, and some that are pretty darn good quality.
It's a difficult subject to broach, because primarily it's an art form, yeah? So
right.
They're really, I mean, sure, there's some guidelines and rules that you can follow, but it's so subjective.
It is. Like, I mean, it's you're basically like, you're creating an environment, right? So you're creating an ecosystem to house whatever it is that you're going to put in there. So, once you have those parameters met for whatever it is that you're going to keep, right? Fish, plants, etc. That's the parameters that you need to follow, right? So let's say you have celestial pearl danios in there. You need to create an environment that is healthy for them to coexist with, thrive in, and that kind of stuff, right? And that should be your main focus, is like, if you're going to put a living creature in somewhere, like, how do you provide them the best environmental space to exist in? And then from there, it's all like artistic choices, right? So, that's basically what it boils down to, is like, well, I want this plant because it's long and it looks better in the back and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And I like these rocks, but unfortunately they won't do well with this fish. So those are out, but let me pick my second choice, which would be good for those fish. And then how do I work with that? Is it available? Is it something you can get? There's just a lot of weird little artistic variables that go into it, and like accessibility variables and whatnot, that, a real comprehensive like aquascaping video would be basically like an instructional video on all of the critters and things that are going to go into the tanks, which I've pseudo attempted to do with like plants and whatnot, trying to give people like, guides to, my experience with this plant, that plant, and whatnot. And then I think honestly, like the videos that I have made haven't hit, they haven't hit on every single element that I think is important for any kind of content. And it would be like experience is one, education is one, and entertainment is the other one. So if there was like a 3-pronged, like if you're going to watch something, I think that it personally should have those three elements prominently in it.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that I've done a great job of like incorporating all three of those all at the same time in the stuff that I've made or making, right? So that's really like, it's an honest like self-reflection on like, what the hell am I spending my time on, right? And I know that a lot of people out there are like, well, you're kind of like just ignoring your fans and whatnot. And the reality is, like, I only have like earnestly, probably 900 fans that really like honestly are
Regular.
like a fan of mine. And we have about 300 people that chip in a couple bucks a month to, help sponsor the projects and stuff and the production. And, vastly a majority of those people, like, and when I say majority, I mean like a huge majority, have been like very much on board with the idea of like, it's going to be a couple months before I can really like kind of round out what it is that I'm doing, fix some things, change some stuff, film a bunch of content that will be ready to go for when I am do the editing and the voiceover and the sound design and all that stuff. And they've all been like really cool with it. They've just all been like, yeah, you know what? Like, you still do the live streams, you still like answer questions. You have a Discord chat that's on 24 hours a day. We have a Minecraft server that we play on. They're like, I'm not sure what else it is that I'm supposed to do, like for the majority of these people, realistically, like when you get down to like how I'm supposed to necessarily engage with people that are fans and stuff. I kind of equated it this way in a live stream the other day, that like I'm basically touring with the record right now. Does that make sense? Like I wrote the record. I put out like 30 videos, aka the record. And right now I'm kind of just going city to city playing the same record, right?
Playing the record, yeah.
And I've never really known anybody that went to, let's say, everybody knows who the Rolling Stones are, right?
Who?
I've never seen anybody go to a Rolling Stones concert and be like, I need to talk to Mick Jagger. I'm pissed off that they haven't put out a new record yet today. Right? because that would be like patently bizarre, right? But it's become like totally normal to just like
Say, where's this guy's new
yeah,
video?
what? Where's the new thing? I need a new thing today, you know. And it's like, okay, sorry, man, I don't have any drugs for you, man. I don't have any dopamine for you, bud. I just don't.
Yeah,
Because I'm like one guy, you know. So
what you said about aquascaping and thinking about the creatures that you want to put in there is certainly key. And I think a lot of people are more concerned with making a really pretty environment before they've even thought about what's going to go in there, sort of thing.
right.
So
Right, they're thinking about a visual aesthetic,
yeah,
before
and
anything else.
and thinking also that potentially I build this awesome aquascape,
Right.
and that's how
And
it
then
has to stay.
Yeah, and then
But,
I just put stuff in there now that the
yeah,
aquascape
and-
looks cool.
Not understanding that a really solid, good, planted, stoned, rocked up, wooded aquascape needs more regular maintenance than just a bare tank or anything like that.
Oh yeah,
A solid aquascape gets tweaked at least once a week. You've got to be fiddling. You've got to be fiddling nonstop. And like I said previously, it's completely subjective. There's no, I don't believe in aquascaping rules, the thirds and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, there's the rule of thirds exists like because of art, like the golden rule, the rule of thirds isn't aquascaping based. That's art based.
I know it's visual perception based,
right? But that's based on fine art. Like that's the study of fine art, thusly been applied to aquascaping. And then the unfortunate thing is that people that don't, or there are people, not there just are people, but there are people that are kind of confused as to what it is when people bring that stuff up, because they're like, well, the rule of thirds, like you got to do your aquarium that way. And it's like, well, no, you have to do your art that way, and your aquarium should be like functioning in that manner, right? To be a piece of art, to be aesthetically pleasing for people that are viewing it, and that's basically the only reason to do that, right? It's not an aquascape rule, it's an art rule that you'll learn if you go to fine art school, that those are the things that you want to be studying so that your art appeals to more people, and it's not something that you have to do, but it's just like, here's the advised way to go about it if you want to appeal to a bigger and better audience or whatever,
Yeah, it is based on the science of how we view things. So, there's certainly good sense in applying the thirds, but sometimes, maybe Casval's aquascaping that, according to his comments, looks horrible, might be appealing to someone else, Some artists think that they just smear shit on a canvas.
Right.
Other people go, oh, $200,000, here you go.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing, is that like maybe they're just not, they're probably not engaged with it.
Yeah. So, just keep plugging away there, Casval. If you think it looks horrible, you rearrange it. That's how aquascaping works. I mean, my aquascapes are shit too, but I don't care. I put my tanks the way they are for the fish. And if you aquascape how you think the fish are going to enjoy it, or whatever other life forms in tank, then generally your aquascapes are going to work. Think like the fish. Be the fish. But try and avoid being the artist. I don't know if that's good advice. It probably isn't. No one takes my advice anyway. So don't be the artist. Oh, that's what I said.
mean,
Be the artist.
you do want to be the artist, that's for sure. But you know, I mean, it's a really old trope, you know, that like artists are poor while they're alive. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
I think
artists generally
we can.
won't see a good living from their art until after they're dead. You know,
Can I then infer from that when Casval's dead, his tanks will be nice?
maybe.
Yeah, I might be clutching at straws there.
You might be. But like I was listening to a Spanish artist today who was talking about 8 or 9 years ago he decided to take his music more seriously, and decided to that's what he wanted to do, full time, like as his career, and he was saying that, like, when he was like 19, that's when he kind of decided, like, hey, this is what I want to do for real, like not just a hobby, and he changed his mindset on it. And the thing is that, like, I'm not saying you got to go to this extreme, because it's not necessarily good advice for an average human being. But, the guy practices like 9-10 hours every day. And he claims that he hasn't missed a day in the last basically like 8 years. Right.
It's not that drummer guy, is it?
What's that?
It's not that drummer guy, is it?
It's a drummer guy. He's like a Spanish drummer.
Oh,
can't remember
what's his name?
It's a very interesting name.
I have a strange feeling I know exactly the guy you meant.
Right, he like smokes cigarettes while he's playing.
Yeah. Oh my God, his drumming.
He's a brilliant. I mean, he's a brilliant drummer. So
his drumming makes my pants get so tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. I mean, he's very good. And the thing is that, like, a big part of what he was talking about is that, like, he dedicated himself to practicing every day, and the explanation is that this isn't like a God-given gift.
Mm.
And he even talks about it in there. I mean, he's speaking Spanish, so if you don't speak Spanish, read the subtitles, and he even tells you to read the subtitles. But
yeah, he does.
I understand Spanish well enough to, and he's from Spain, so it's like his Spanish is pretty good compared to the other accents of the world that are difficult for me to pick up. But he's saying that, like, if you're watching TV or whatnot, like, it's all kind of pronounced to you that, like, this is all just some God-given, like, magical bestowed upon you gift, that you just kind of wake up one day and you're extraordinarily good at something. And his whole point is that, like, you're showing a video from like 10 years ago, and he's like, look, I am terrible.
Yeah, that was classic, that one, though.
Yeah, and so he's like, so if God gave me this gift to be good, why wasn't I good back then? And it's easy to look at it and go like, well, you were just a kid, of course, blah blah blah, but it's like, but that's the point. The point is that, like, it's not a God-given ability, and I think in the fish keeping community, it's like Takashi Amano is revered as like he was some kind of wild genius. And the thing is that, like, he was a photographer, and he worked really hard at being a photographer, and his eye lent itself well to doing art, because photography is an art, and he worked at it very hard and got good at it. And he was interested in nature stuff too. So when he combined those into a thing, and then he just worked on it all the time. There's a pretty extensive documentary on the tank that he built in his house. Now, I don't know where to find it. I know that I've seen it. But they designed the house around the
the
tank
tank.
was going to be put into it. You know, like they didn't, you know, and it's stuff like that where you're like, well, you know, I don't have the ability to do that. And it's like, but are you trying to do that? Is that something that you're trying to do? Are you working towards doing that and practicing to get to that point so that you could do that someday? You know, and it's like, well, maybe you are, you know, and if you are, like, kudos, but that means you got to just keep working on it. And the unfortunate thing is that, like, in the world of YouTube, it's like, you know, oh, well, you haven't uploaded something in the last 15 minutes. You're obviously failing, you know, like you should have some like crazy content coming out where you pulled a prank on somebody at Burger King, you know, and then, you know, you do a review of somebody else's work, you know, do a reaction video to somebody else's thing that they did, and then make fun of somebody over here, and then get in a Twitter beef with somebody, you know, and it's just like it's kind of a really you know, it's kind of a fairly toxic reaction that is in line with that, like, oh well, obviously it's just God-given talent, that's why they're super good, and blah 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 blah, blah. You know, and it's like, but the explanation is, it's like, no, it's practice, working, improving, getting better. And people don't want to watch 9 hours of somebody getting better at something, you know, and it's just unfortunate that that's a reality, but it is, you know, people just don't want to watch 9 hours of practicing on something. They just don't. They want to, you know, they just want to see the finished product and not the hours and hours and hours that went into it. Because typically, like, if a person sees the hours and hours and hours that went into it, like, it unfortunately is an emotion that gets pushed onto the viewer that they're not doing enough. And that's why generally, like, people have the negative reaction to that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. So it makes them feel a little bit poorer.
Right. And it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the human nature thing, is that, like, if people have that moment in time where they're like, viewing somebody else working incredibly diligently at something that it normally lends, it normally ends up like giving the emotion to somebody that they're not doing the stuff that they think that they were supposed to be doing in their own head, right?
Sure.
And that's generally like why people wouldn't in a very general way, by the way, why people wouldn't engage with it very well, that type of content. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I think I did kind of a terrible job explaining.
No, I think it makes sense. And it's El Estepario Siberiano is the drummer that we were talking about.
He's a badass dude. You guys are rad.
Oh, my God. He's literally I had to band-aid the scabs on my chin from my jaw dropping to the ground. I was so impressed with his playing.
Agreed.
And some of his single foot bass drum stuff is better than a lot of dudes' double bass drum stuff. He's ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, like you say, he's wouldn't have got there if he didn't put in those hours each day. And you know, we're all the better for it, because we get to see the final results. We don't, you know, he doesn't show us those 8 hours of practice a day for us to be cranky at. We just get to see the outcomes and the brilliance that kid's got.
I mean,
a little bit,
especially for a guy his age. I mean, he's like 25. You know,
yeah, he's a young man, and he smashes those ciggies. He's doomed with the lung cancer.
It's probably not going to end well, honestly.
It's all right. He's got that YouTube money now. He'll be all right.
Yeah,
hopefully he'll get them new lungs in the hospital. The YouTube.
Well,
hospital.
It's like Samus 66. Like, I don't know if you watch him at all. It's kind of
Who?
a goofball.
Oh yeah, Samus, of course.
Yeah, Samus. Like, he's a good example. Like, he just, you and his wife just got a house, you know. And the thing is, like, that guy, Samus, literally was like, is inspired by Estepario, right? Because of his work ethic and what he can do on the kit, you know. And you're like, you know, that's about as good as a compliment as you can get. Like, somebody who's really good at something admires how good you are at something, right?
Yeah, right. I didn't
But
know.
you look at Samus, like Samus, that guy plays and streams. You know, he streams his drum playing all the
Twice a week.
time on Twitch. You know, he just takes requests and does his best to play, and like, he's a really good drummer, you know. But he's
Drummed
a
for
really good
Devin
drummer
Townsend,
because,
for goodness sakes.
what's that?
He drummed for Devin Townsend.
Yeah, I'm aware, you know. But it's like, it's one of those things that you know, you get to drum for somebody like Devin because you have practiced and you are ready, and you can literally answer the call when you get the call to go play with Devin Townsend, right?
Mm.
So, you know, and if he wasn't practiced, and if you didn't know how to play along with those songs and stuff, like, you would never get that call, you know. And maybe you did get that call, but you can't answer it because you're not prepared to do it, you know.
And it does kind of take a special kind of drummer to be able to drum to the stuff that Devin Townsend programs and wants in his songs.
That's right. You got to get the wall of sound. You got to get the wall of sound going. You got to get those blast beats in the wall of sound.
I'd like to know, would Gene Hoglan be the drummer we know today, and such a famous drummer, if he didn't have an involvement with Devin Townsend?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think he's
am I thinking of the right guy? Gene Hoglan.
Yeah, fat dude with long black hair, always wears shiny aviator glasses and thinks he's a lot better than he is. Oh, that's a bit brutal. I don't even know the guy, and I'm casting aspersions.
That's hard. Hey, man, go easy.
Sorry, Gene. I know you're a regular viewer.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is tuning in.
Oh, look, he's a good drummer, but I just find him a little bit overrated.
Right.
What are they call him the human metronome. Fair enough. Fair enough. You can do tidy double kick drums at 240 BPM for a considerable period of time. Well done, sir. Can you do it with feeling? Can you put some heart into it?
We need some emotion.
Yeah, that's where El Stepario, you know, he's doing all this crazy shit, but you can still feel it, you know.
That's true. I'm with you on that. I'm not against you. I'm with you. You know.
Yeah, Gene Hoglan's, you know, you'd know he's drumming. He's been a session drummer for a lot of bands. I think his first big break was with Strapping Young Lad. But he's worked with so many different bands. Fear Factory, I think he might have even done a stint with them.
Mm-hmm.
And a few other ones. Hang on, I've got to remember that crocodile that I had to wrestle? He needs another go.
Again. Okay.
Brutal.
This guy's got the kitten bladder. He's got the bladder of a kitten. I don't know if he'd ever be able to drum with Devin Townsend. He'd be too busy hanging out in the bathroom peeing. Old kitten bladder McGee over here. With the kitten meow meow, with the kitten meow meow, he's got a little kitten meow meow bladder. And that's an original song I just wrote just now. I know you're impressed. I know you're impressed. Oh, Lord, I fell off. I fell off my thing here. Oop. How's that go? I just need to suck at this a little less before I'm after that. All right, makes sense. Oh, afternoon delight.
Kitten bladder. Yeah, one would assume approaching the winter time that the crocodiles get less active, but this particular crocodile gets more active in the winter due to the less sweating that one does.
I see.
If that makes sense to any registered nurses in the chat. No, yeah, I'll do it for $1, Casval, but you have to pay for my airfare to get there because I believe you're in a foreign country to me. Possibly the US, but I'm not sure. Are you US, Casval? Oh, he asked you, not me. How did I read that as Blacky? Somehow the letters of Corvus.
Will I come aquascape your tank for $1? No.
See, I will, but you've got to pay airfares. Corvus won't.
No, I won't. I wouldn't do it for $1. That's not my day rate. Sorry.
Yeah, I shook Jeffrey and I pushed. I pushed hard.
I believe my Patreon says I'll come to your house and help you with your tank if you Patreon 15 grand, I think is what it's listed on there. For me to take a time off work, that's what it costs. And for me to fly to your stranger's house, that's what it costs. You know, just because. I mean, I would almost estimate that the rate has probably gone up because of COVID, but the Patreon won't let me put it up higher. That's as high as Patreon will let me put it.
You might as well milk that Patreon.
But what do you mean?
Hey, someone will do it one day, you know?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. I doubt it.
Hey,
but
I will. When I've got a spare 15 grand in my back pocket, I'm there. No, I mean, you're here. Wait,
well, I mean,
if I'm paying the 15 grand, are you paying your own airfares?
Out of that? Well, likely out of that, yeah. I mean, that would likely cover the airfare, unless I want to go first class, and then the rate's probably gone up.
Oh, so many ifs, so many ands.
Well, Australia's pretty far, and I haven't looked up a ticket there, but I think last time I looked up a ticket, I think it was about $2 grand or something like that.
Jesus.
I forget.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. I removed the comment from the screen before we'd addressed it. I have no idea what it means, but perhaps you could lay light on BJ Palmer's mention of Starland Vocal Band. Why do people keep doing their song lyrics this week? Corvus.
I think that's the Afternoon Delight band. Is that the Afternoon Delight? The Starland, what is it? The Starland
Starland Vocal Band.
Isn't that right? Isn't that who they are? I think that's who does the Afternoon Delight, and I think I did the Afternoon Delight.
I'm vastly unfamiliar. Nice one. GRB's popped up the Patreon link for you, so you might get a few 15 grand takers in the next 20 minutes. Watch out. Keep your eyes on your Patreon page.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely keep my eye out for sure. 100%.
All the
Oh no, sorry, false alarm. Actually, it was actually just a
I totally fell for that.
It was actually just an Amazon post.
G'day, Sandy Doty.
It was telling me that my order has shipped. It was my new my replacement headlamp for work. I don't know if you guys do any kind of heavy duty industrial or construction work or anything like that. And it's kind of funny, like my workspaces, like people always come in and tell me to turn the lights on. Like, hey, I need to turn on lights. And it's like, I do a lot of electrical work, which means that the power is turned off.
Oh, yeah.
So there's not lights. So when I'm at work, I wear a goofy headlamp all the time, like on my forehead.
And even when you look them in the face, they don't realize that you're working on your own light source instead of someone else.
But my headlamp cracked, has a crack in the thing. So I had to order a new one. So it was actually just Amazon telling me that it has shipped and it will be here Thursday or something. What does this say? What? It'll actually be here tomorrow. Well, look at that. Amazon shipping around here. It's lickety split.
Yeah, even down here they do a good job. Snappy as. I just bought a little LED strap-on headlamp not long ago. I don't use them, but when you walk past a massive cardboard bin with 1 billion of them in for $4 each, and they come with free batteries.
Whoa!
You know, I had $4. I'm gonna get one.
You might as well, right?
It's still in the packet, but so are the batteries.
So the one I use is from my favorite rock climbing company, Petzl, and it's pretty heavy duty, and then it has like a rechargeable battery that swaps out in it, and like 3 light settings and all that. Works in any environment. It's waterproof, whatever. You know, it's like $50, but you know, this last one lasted me like probably 3 years, 3 or 4 years or something like that. And I recharge the battery all the time, and it's worked. It still works great. Just the closing mechanism got cracked somehow. I think I smashed my head into something and don't remember.
I wonder why. You were probably on LSD.
It was the trauma. It was the extreme trauma, I think. Brain damage, you know. Which is likely. I mean, from my behavior, it's probably pretty clear that I do have brain damage, right? So, what happened? Hello?
You broke your light. You got a new light.
Just kidding.
Wake up, Corvus! You broke your light.
What happened? Flashlights? Oh my God, flashlights, guys. Flashlights or fleshlights? What?
One of each, please.
So very exciting over here. I know that there's just a thrill a minute. That's a great story. I know a lot of people are just edge of their seats, just like being at the racetrack, you know, 200 miles an hour. Whoa, look at them go.
I mean, look at you might think that talking about headlamps is a boring subject, but look at all the chat in the chat room that is initiated.
It's true. But we are actually at the it's 10:20 p.m. and I gotta be up at 3:30. So we are actually at that point where we gotta wind it down, my bro. I love you.
We're also in a
we didn't
situation.
Get the beast. What happened to the beast today? We got the skunks, which is good.
I messaged him and he had the link, but potentially he was still abed. I know he can be a little bit of a night owl. I last time I looked, he still hadn't even seen my message, so I don't think the beast will be turning up today.
Well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I've also been pushing Jason from Perth Cichlids to get up on screen, because it was months ago now that he got himself a nice new microphone rig, and he threatened me that he would come on my streams all the time.
Right.
And so yeah, I keep shooting him a link to get up on the stream, and he never shows. So one day we'll have Jace as well soon. But yeah, you know.
We're getting to the point where I got to go wrestle my, what do you call it, a penis crocodile? Is that what it is?
Well, I just call it a crocodile because I don't want to be too obvious to the people.
Right. So you don't want to call it a penis crocodile, because then people would know that you were, you know.
Just, yeah. I don't want to make my euphemisms too obvious. I like a little bit of grey mist around the edge of my euphemism.
Right.
So we might as well just call it quits. Everyone's got to go. I've got to go. You've got to go. She's got to go. That guy over there, he's got to go too.
He's got to go. That's right.
He's
You don't have to
certain
go
of it.
home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, if he doesn't go soon, he's getting a pitchfork through the rib cage. I tell ya.
That's legit. All right. All right, buddy. I'll talk to
sorry,
you.
sorry. I meant he's going to get a tattoo.
That's right. He's going to get tattooed. That's right.
Right. I think I've got the nomenclature down now.
That's right.
All right,
All right,
everyone.
buddy. So
Thank you.
probably next week, right?
Better. We better keep
All
this going now. We're on a roll.
We're on a roll. We're 1 for 1.
1 for 1.
That's right, baby. Undefeated.
All right, man. Thanks for hanging out. Sleep well. Wake better. Oh, split broadcast. I think he pushed the wrong button first. All right, everyone. Thanks heaps for hanging out. BJ Palmer, you still owe me a Darth Vader shirt picture. I wore this to remind you. Bloody hell. And, you know, check out the Teespring. Darth Vader shirts might still be available on Teespring. They're certainly not available down here. Bantha. Star Wars fans, Bantha shirt coming soon. I've also put in a couple of extra Star Wars commissions to the Scunch Princess for some Star Wars shirts to be done. Get amongst it. Yeah, someone check out the Teespring and let me know if Teespring's still got it running. You know where I was, BJ. BJ, probably just bloody either find me on Instagram or Facebook so you can just send me a picture of that shirt so I can promote it more. Yeah, Scungy's got a sick Bantha design in the process. Trying to encourage that to get finished ASAP, but she might need to sell a couple of pictures before she gets the materials required to complete that image. Oh yeah, good reminding too, Dougs. Smash like, subscribe if you haven't. I'm assuming all you good people are subscribed already because I seem to know you all quite well. Tell your mum, all that good stuff. Look after yourselves. Any requests before I go? Oh, Lee. Wow, if I've gone that long that Lee went to bed at the start of the stream and he woke up towards the end of the stream. Well, maybe just for Lee, and Aquamate. G'day, Aquamate. Just for Lee and Aquamate's benefit, maybe we'll just keep going for another hour. Oh, hang on, Aquamate. Do you have like a video or something coming up this afternoon? That's what we like to hear, GRB. A bit of interesting. I have massive wind whipping up. A bit more rain just for something different, it seems. 2 hours, Aquamate. Jesus. The Americans have experienced a change in daylight savings time, Aquamate, so you might want to consider maybe bringing that back an hour. But yeah, hang on. Where's this thing? Do you want to, Aquamate, do you want to get up and tell us about it? I'll shoot you a link if you want, bros. Let me know before I piss off. Otherwise, GRB is going to go live and play us some drunk guitars. Where I gotta go? I gotta go there. Push that button to forward on the right coast. Where is he? Just type it in as quicker than scrolling. Every single time. At the Oval, waiting for stuff to... How did you get to London? Anyway, so Aquamate will not be coming up, apparently, to promote his upcoming premiere in 2 hours' time. Yeah, daylight savings just creates havoc. They should either ban it or just permanently change the clocks. Freaking idiots. Science and clocks don't mix. What's the third coast? The one down the bottom. Oh, I just ate worms yesterday. How timely. Oh, I definitely don't have another hour in my GRB. I've got to go and do things. I've got to go and find some trousers and stuff. If you people don't have GRBs, if I can get one of my mods GRB to put your own link up so people can find your live stream, those American people that desire not to sleep, and those Australians that want to continue winding out their Wednesday afternoon until Aquamate's live Blackworm premiere. Oh, is that from the Australian Blackworm Farm, Aquamate, down your way? Or Geelong or somewhere near Melbourne, aren't they? I'm sure the last 2 or 3 times I've looked at their website, they've been out of stock. Are they back in stock? Are they got worms now? Because I was going to get a bloody tank full and start propagating my own, because they look like such a joyous food source. Plus, if they get down into your substrate, they survive, yeah? They keep breeding in your substrate, and when they come out, the fish can pick them off. Kind of like that about them. Oh, very good, very good. I might have to procure no shunu. I don't even know what that means. So yeah. It seems there had those requests from Aquamate and GRB. GRB, you should probably go live earlier rather than later if you've got a belly full of bourbon, mate. Take my advice, a fellow belly full of bourbon type person who's all of a sudden lost his voice. Artistic. But anyway, yeah. Come on, GRB, put your link in, get it sorted. Potentially GRB may be no. Yeah, good. Yeah. The joy of blackworms living in your tank is they pose no threat to any fish at all. So I'm led to believe. But yeah, GRB, if you're even if you just start a live now, shoot the link in here. There's at least 20 people in here that will probably fly over there for a bit of a listen. And BJ probably won't. I think she's nodding off to sleep. Oh, no, she's back with more comments. But, you know, that's all I'm hanging around for, GRB, is for you to either post me a link for what you're getting up to. Other than that, I'm going to cough. And, I mean, if GRB goes live, I'll probably watch a bit of that. But I've got a bit of stuff to do that I'm going to go and do. Anyway, probably everyone here has. If you're not subscribed to GRB, do yourself a favour. Go and subscribe to GRB's channel. GRB tells it like it is. He's a real human. Real human. Casval, got nothing better to do than stream with YouTubers. We'll get you a link, Casval. I'll get you up on screen to show you terrible aquascaping that you're so unproud of. I guarantee you show your aquascaping on screen, you'll get some people that say, that looks pretty bloody good. What are you talking about? You're so negative with your self-opinions. Words to that effect you might hear, Casval, if people actually see your stuff. Because, you know, quite often we're our own worst critics, aren't we? And often when we're our own worst critics, we don't care what other people say. Yeah. Well, I think we had Corvus this week for a good half hour longer than his usual bedtime. You know, we've missed a couple of weeks, so he probably felt, I wanted to use the word obliged or indebted, but I think I'm supposed to use those words towards him, but he probably felt that just, you know, we hadn't hung out for a couple of weeks, so we really needed a decent, solid hangout. Indoor fishing inside. Hello there. Good timing as we're just about to walk out the door. I'm only trying to delay and wait for GRB to provide us with a link to his potential follow-up stream to this. Polo.
2 hours later.
But anyway, you guys will find GRB's YouTube channel. And I'm going to go. Right. You want me to give you another 120 seconds, GRB, or something? I can, and I will, if you need a little bit more time to put a link in my chat to get people to view your stuff. Oh, that was another thing. Good. I can feel. Australian YouTuber Blake's Aquatics, 6,000 subscribers. Well done, Blake. I meant to, it was actually on my imaginary list of topics to cover this episode, was Blake reaching 6,000 subscribers, which is phenomenal. I like to claim it as my own success because Blake came onto my channel when he had less than 50 subscribers, and I introduced him to the world. And now he's one of the finest, if not the finest Australian fish tuber. If you don't have Blake's Aquatics channel in your YouTube subscriptions, you're a unit. You're an idiot. You're a fool. Because he's, as far as Australian, don't take me as an example of an Australian fish tuber. If you want the epitome of what an Australian fish tuber should be, you need to go and check out Blake's Aquatics. That guy does the right stuff. He actually talks about fish and stuff, not superheroes, not Star Wars, not television, not bloody comic books and stuff. He talks about fish and stuff, fish-related stuff. But, you know, well done, Blake. I'll just make sure that goes down on tape that I fully support Blake and his actions, no matter what the courts of law say about Blake. He's a good man. He's a good man, and he's doing great stuff for the fish tube community down under. Get amongst it. Get amongst the Blake videos. It's very good stuff. And he's a good dude, you know. He's very short. I was very surprised because I'm not a tall man myself, but he gave me the desire to pat him on the head like he's a good little boy. But I hope he doesn't watch this now that I've said that. Well done, Blake. You're an awesome dude. You are doing the YouTube right, sir. Get amongst him. That's a really good question, BJ. Me and GRB, I think, are the only ones left that do streams. Out of the people I know. Does Majestic? Yeah, StreamYard is just what you run the stream with. I don't even know. I mean, you've got Majestic Aquariums TV. Jesus, I've had a drink with the man and I can't remember what his YouTube's called. Keeping Fish Simple, I think, does live streams once a week still. Geez, I'm not even sure how many other. I know Blake used to do his streams, but I think now that he's back to work, he's struggling to do that. I'm not sure if Prawny used to do his stream on Fridays. I'm not sure if Prawny's still streaming. I don't think Bodgy's streaming. Perth Cichlids should get off his ass and start doing some streams. Come on, Jace. Come on, Jace. You've got the kit now. Get streaming. I don't even know if Sam Parker's got an awesome YouTube channel. I don't think he does live streams anymore. Might be a lost art because everyone does the same stuff on live streams. You know, more live streams ought to talk about Star Wars and comic books and shit instead of just fish. Branch out, people. No, don't, because then you're going to bloody encroach on my territory, aren't you? All right. I think that... Oh, someone asked Keeping Fish Simple if he's unblocked me yet. He banned me off his channel because I used to... Never mind. Let's not go there. Yeah, I'm not sure, Ugly, if... Oh, is Rumble still doing his streams as well? Thank you, Cichlids Aquarium Keeper, and hello, Cac. I didn't see you there. Yeah, I'm not sure, Ugly, if Sam did streams. But yeah, my goal when I started doing these live streams was that there was, a good 20 or so other fish tubers doing live streams, and it was all very repetitive and people talking about the same stuff. So my goal was to do more of a variety show, back in the old days of my streams, and we'd have Scungy showing some art and we'd play some songs, and it was more of a variety show that sort of allowed the fish tube people to, have a little bit of respite from just fish talk and a little bit of other stuff that might be, a little bit interesting other than, all just going, oh, yeah, do this, do that. And, yeah, that's why this happens. Must ask Rumble if and when he still streams, because I haven't seen a notification for his streams in a while. Oh, isn't it great when Facebook messages triggers a memory that you'd completely forgotten? Oh, and what about GRB's stream is live now. There we go. There's GRB, you've given everyone the StreamYard link, so everyone's going to get on camera with you. Oh, Kevin Leong decided to show up right at the end as well. Good timing, Kevin. I will try not to tarnish your perpetual brush with bad timing, but I'm just about to jump out the door. Yeah, BJ Palmer, I had the same idea that Rumble is still posting regular vids but not doing a live stream. Oh, Kevin, you can't just lurk and not tell me you're lurking. Then I can't poke fun at you and send funny words in your direction. But I appreciate that you've been here, lad. You're a good boy, Kevin, and I like you a lot. Crikey, and the wind is picking up big time here. I don't know if you've seen the screen doing these ones in the wind. I think I'm about to get hit with a fairly substantial storm. It's gone very grey, as you can see. Like I said earlier, in the overcast weather, my forehead shines red. And now it's getting windy, and my ears are doing funny things. Oh yeah, that's probably the best indicator of the wind, isn't it? The pothos and the curtains behind me. Didn't even think of that. It's everywhere. Anyway, GRB, are you going to... GRB is probably back on his own stream. Can we get everyone in the chat right now to take that StreamYard link and follow it and all get on GRB's stream and see what happens? I think that would be classic comedy for the end of this stream. All right. Thank you, Cichlids Aquarium Keeper. I shall catch back up with him, even though we have a little tiny bit of conversation every other day. All right, everyone follow. GRB's probably in his own stream now, so he won't hear me telling everyone to do the StreamYard link. Jump in his stream. Let's get at least 7 people on GRB's screen before he realizes the shenanigans. I'm really good, thanks, Kev, but I'm going now. All right, thanks, everyone. Thanks heaps for hanging out. I know we didn't talk about the 2 weeks off, but we don't have to. Nice. Get in there, Kevin. I'll be in there with you as soon as I go and wrestle a crocodile. Take it easy, everyone. Thanks heaps for hanging out. See yous next week, if not before. Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to push buttons to finish it. You can't just say the words and finish it. You've got to actually